It's Wednesday, February the 4th. Today, a personal care home set to close is staying open. How the NDP government is taking control after negotiations with the owner failed. Also today, how the province is aiming to protect the environment as plans to dramatically expand the Port of Churchill ramp up. And searching for Mr. or Mrs. Dress Up, why this fabled costume collection is up for grabs. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Wednesday to you. We're halfway through the week, and Ainsley McPhail is going to tell us about February being Heart Month, and she's hanging out with the Heart Stroke Foundation in Manitoba this morning. We're going to find out about the importance of CPR training, as well as what are warning signs that you might be either having a heart attack or a stroke, and what to do if that is happening. But let's talk about the weather. I woke up this morning, things were melting, much milder, a much better drive as well.
It's pleasant out there this morning, isn't it? I thought the same thing. As soon as I stepped outside, I was like, oh, this is something we can all get behind, I think. So these really pleasant temperatures will continue, and in fact, they're probably going to go into the extremes a little bit, but this morning is a beautiful start to your Wednesday, and then it's going to continue to warming up throughout the day today. We do have some heavier clouds hanging around, just a light breeze. It's -10 right now. A 13K wind out of the northwest makes it feel like -16. Pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 87%, but I mean, we are well above seasonal. Normal lows this time of year would be about -21, so we're cutting those numbers in half, and we'll continue to make some gains. I mentioned the clouds there, you can see on the satellite image. We are just with a few clouds over us now, but heavier clouds moving in throughout the day today, and the possibility of some precipitation. We saw this yesterday when we were looking at the futurecast. It primarily stays through northern Manitoba and central Manitoba. We might see a little bit of that activity developing later on into the day. We certainly will notice winds increasing later on today. So as mild as it is right now, it will get warmer, but it's going to get windier as well. Now, these heavier clouds, they're going to be hanging around overnight through tomorrow as well. Tomorrow, again, the possibility of precipitation, but with the temperatures on the rise, both through the overnight hours and through the day tomorrow, you can see some greens, some pinks showing up in there, the possibility of some mixed precipitation, and then clearing out by Friday. Temperatures will be dipping off a little bit, but rebounding again for the weekend, and it's going to remain quite mild, not just through the weekend, but well into next week. So normal daytime highs would be about -10. Everything is looking to be above that, with the exception of Friday, and even pushing up into the plus digits tomorrow.
Thank you, Terry. Premier Wamkenu is trying to strike a balance between his ambitions to significantly expand economic activity through the Port of Churchill, while also protecting the environment. And on Tuesday, he made an announcement he hopes will do just that. His government will spend $250,000 to explore the creation of a national marine conservation area in Western Hudson Bay. Environmental groups Oceans North is also taking part in the initiative with a $1 million contribution.
So if we want opportunity that endures, we have to protect the living systems that make this place worth coming to, worth studying, and especially worth calling home.
Christopher Debicki with Oceans North says the Western Hudson's Bay is a key area for a variety of marine species. For example, he said a protected area reaching 50 miles from shore would safeguard about 95% of the local beluga whale population. The funding from his organization, along with money from the province, would be used to conduct research on the area and collect feedback from tourism operators, First Nations communities, industry leaders, and Manitobans at large. The region may one day be home to a pipeline and terminal, which the Premier has raised as a possibility to boost international trade. He was asked if those plans square with these conservation efforts.
So instead of just trying to build up some massive export terminal and then wait for environmentalists or land users, water users to highlight the downsides years on the future, we're saying let's have that conversation now. Let's figure out how can we make growing the economy work at the same time that we build a safe, clean, and healthy environment for the future.
Environment and Climate Change Minister Mike Moy says similar reviews have taken up to a year, but he noted the timeline may shift depending on what they hear from stakeholders. It's also worth noting that the designation would ultimately need to come from the federal government. We have an update for you now on the Golden Door Geriatric Centre. The province is taking over the 78-bed personal care home in Fort Garry to ensure it remains open. Manitoba's health minister says after attempts to acquire it stalled, the government decided to expropriate the building from its private owner. And as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, this is a first within the health system.
Manitoba government is expropriating the 78-bed personal care home on Pembina Highway after it says the private owner planned to close it.
The expropriation is absolutely a last resort. This is not a light step to take. I don't take it lightly. Government doesn't take it lightly.
The province says last year the Golden Door Geriatric Centre filed a closure notice for March 31st this year. It says the centre, which gets public funding, stopped taking new admissions, and as a result, 25 beds are currently empty.
That's 25 families that could have dignity for their loved one.
So the province has put an interim management team in place, and expropriation proceedings to take the facility are underway after negotiations to acquire the care home hit a standstill. They also plan to reopen the 25 beds.
We'll do everything we can to make sure that seniors have homes in this province and that healthcare workers who provide care to seniors in these personal care homes have their jobs that they love.
The Manitoba Government and General Employees Union represents 70 workers at the home and sent CTV News a statement. These members care deeply about their work and the people they support. We hope that this will bring some stability to the residents and the workers who work with them. The move is a rare one. The province says this is the first time attempts to take a building have been done within the health system. Normally, when governments undertake expropriation proceedings, the target is land, like the LeMay Forest, not a personal care home. And it's unclear what this will cost taxpayers.
It's far more expensive for seniors to lose their homes. It's far more expensive to build, we know, personal care homes.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The health minister says going forward, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority will operate the facility. Canada paused Tuesday to remember a young soldier. The body of 24-year-old gunner Sebastian Hamm from Hamilton, Ontario, was repatriated at CFB Trenton. A large procession followed Tuesday along the Highway of Heroes, a final journey marked by silence, flags, and respect. Hamm died while deployed in Latvia with the Canadian Armed Forces, serving as part of NATO's Operation Reassurance in Eastern Europe. Some dashcam video now showing the moment a vehicle careened off a highway overpass in the west end of Toronto. The vehicle collided with a transport truck in the lanes below. 2 people were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say speed and snow may have been factors. Economic uncertainty and trade disruptions are proving to be major concerns for Manitoba businesses. That's according to the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce's 2025 Business Outlook Survey released yesterday. It found 80% of respondents had some level of concern about trade disruptions, including nearly 30% who are very concerned. However, it isn't the only issue facing Manitoba businesses. 3 in 5 say the biggest barrier to growth right now is the cost of doing business, followed by labor availability and workforce retention. Looking to the future, a majority of those polled say eliminating interprovincial trade barriers should be the government's top priority to reduce uncertainty. The survey by Léger of 157 Manitoba business leaders was conducted online between November 17th and December 17th of last year. You don't need to stick your head out the window the next time you're wondering if the plows are coming. The city has just updated its online snow clearing map. The online tool now updates about every 15 minutes, showing which sidewalks and paths are being cleared and which ones are already done. The city says staff used to enter the information manually, usually after a 12-hour shift. Now the site uses automatic vehicle location technology to show almost real-time progress. Unique views of Alaska's North Slope are being provided by some unlikely photographers. Those photographers would be grizzly bears. 12 bears have been outfitted with video collars in order to shoot footage for researchers. This area of Alaska is remote territory for any grizzly bear. And while the framing isn't perfect, researchers think it will be valuable. Pretty cool perspective. Here's what's happening right now in traffic at Confusion Corner. The streets are wet this morning, really messy, so be mindful of that. Please ensure that your windshield washer fluid is topped up. But overall, a pretty good drive to start off this Wednesday morning. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. We are talking about Heart Month and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, and with Heart Month, we want you to know the risk factors. So we're going to be chatting with someone with lived experience who is able to provide CPR and life-saving support to her mother, who is now doing well. We're going to come and chat with her at 6:42. But 1 in 4 Manitobans pass from this. That equates to about 25% higher than the national average. We're going to talk to a cardiologist about some of those risk factors and the fact that a lot of us aren't sure which ones that they have themselves. We're also in the 8 o'clock hour going to be chatting with someone with lived experience who has a heart condition themselves. Men and women, of course, present differently, so we're going to be learning about those differences from the experts. Stay with us throughout the morning. 7:42 is our next one.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley.
6:42.
6:42.
Happy hump day.
Okay, thank you. Let's go out to the rooftop now. We're halfway through the week and things are warming up.
Yeah, what a nice change up to experience at this point in the week, knowing that it's going to remain quite mild then for the coming weekend. As warm as it gets today, even warmer for tomorrow. So yes, this warm up will be a little bit shocking, especially compared to those below seasonal temperatures and the deep freeze of just a couple weekends back. -10 is where we begin right now. That would be a normal daytime high. That's where we're sitting this morning, and the gains will be impressive throughout the next couple of days. -16 is what it feels like out here. That's once you're factoring in the winds, but they're on the lighter side, just 12 kilometers per hour out of the northwest. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. Heavier clouds out here, yes, maybe even a little bit of fog that we'll see developing. There's kind of a mistiness to the air right now, so you might notice some reduced visibility. Every now and then I'll see a snowflake. The possibility is there too of some precipitation over the next couple of days, which could end up in mixed form because that's how mild it's going to get. Right now, anything that you're likely to see will remain in flurry form and likely throughout the day today as we rise to a high of -5 here in Winnipeg, and even warmer temperatures could be hitting plus digits all along that western border. Those are the numbers that we could be seeing tomorrow here in the southeast. And this warm-up will take us right over the next couple of days before it dips a bit by Friday. We're taking a break. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Good morning. Details about the events leading up to a fatal police shooting were put into focus on the second day of an inquest into the death of 16-year-old Aisha Hudson. Aisha Hudson was killed in 2020 following a police pursuit in response to a liquor store robbery by a group of teens. In an agreed statement of facts, court heard Aisha was driving a stolen Jeep when some of her passengers robbed a liquor store. One of them also threatened staff before the group took off. A store employee reported the theft to police. They described the suspects as Indigenous youth between the ages of 15 and 18. Court heard that the vehicle had rammed a police cruiser as well as hit other cars during the pursuit before shots were fired. Homeless encampments are now banned near public areas like playgrounds and schools, and we're nearly 3 months into the city's enforcement of the new rules. But that work slowed down last month, with city staff saying the frigid temperatures are to blame. CTV's Danton Unger explains.
Much slower progress.
During a weeks-long cold snap in mid and late January, temperatures plummeted as low as -38 degrees, forcing the city to be more cautious with its enforcement.
This is a matter of life and death for people who are occupying encampments during weather like this.
According to city data, 2 high-priority encampments were actioned during the month of January, meaning an outreach worker visited the site, signage was put up, or the site was cleared after being vacated.
January was a very cold month, and most of the time unsheltered residences will go seek shelter. They'll either go to a 24-hour safe space or go into shelter space.
Since mid-November, the city has prohibited encampments near playgrounds, schools, transit shelters, bridges, and rail crossings. Community Development Manager Greg McPherson told the city's Community Services Committee a total of 14 encampments have been actioned since the policy took effect, while 37 have been remediated and 85 have been inspected by bylaw enforcement officers.
We're working very closely with the province on a number of encampments to try to house people.
Housing Addictions and Homelessness Minister Bernadette Smith tells CTV News since the launch of Manitoba's Your Way Home strategy last year, the province has moved 170 people from encampments into transitional housing with wraparound supports. All but 3 have remained housed. And while that's encouraging news for Community Services Chair Councillor Vivian Santos, she says the true test of the city's encampment policy will come when the weather warms up.
We do see more an uptake of encampments showing up in the spring and summer because our residences don't necessarily want to stay within the shelter system. They prefer to be living outside.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The hockey community and families across the country are honoring the lives of 3 young players killed in a devastating crash in Alberta.
It's generations of early mornings, long drives, cold rinks, and proud parents in the stands. These young men were part of that story, and we will honor them. This loss is felt not only in Staveley and Nanton, but across our surrounding communities and our country.
That's Nanton's Mayor Jennifer Hanley paying tribute to Caden Fine, JJ Wright, and Cameron Casorso, who were killed in a car crash while heading to practice Monday morning. Their stories run deep in the southern Alberta community as well as in Kamloops, where 2 of the boys were from. People who knew them say they're in shock and are finding relief in the memories, remembering their joy and skill on the ice. As for the crash, RCMP believe this was a tragic accident. No criminal charges are expected. Investigators have found signs of forced entry at the home of the mother of Today's Show host, Savannah Guthrie. Authorities believe 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was taken from her Arizona home against her will.
We don't know where she is, so we're like any investigation. Just start from the point of where we last saw her, and we work out, and we are working as far out as we can go.
Guthrie was last seen Saturday night at her home in the Tucson area. She was reported missing Sunday. Guthrie's family says she doesn't have her medication and could die without it. Crews are cleaning up what remains of a notorious Main Street hotel. A city spokesperson confirms the contractor hired to remediate the site of the Manwin Hotel has received all the necessary approvals and permits. The work was put on hold after the discovery of asbestos. The bulk of the work is expected to be completed in the next week. The hotel went up in flames 3 weeks ago. NASA's Artemis 2 mission hasn't launched yet, but this scientist is already working on Artemis 3.
We'll have a new batch of samples from somewhere on the moon we've never been to before, either with robots or humans.
Dr. Gordon Ozinski from Western University in Ontario is part of Artemis 3's science team. That mission plans to land astronauts on the moon and bring them back with new space rocks. Artemis 3 is more than a year away. In the meantime, NASA's focus is on the upcoming Artemis 2 launch, which could happen in March. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. The westbound curb lane on Marion Street is closed from Dawson Road to Dupuis Avenue. The southbound curb lane on Taché Avenue is closed from Depin Street to Dollard Boulevard. And the eastbound curb lane on Selkirk Avenue is closed from Salter Street to Aiken Street. If you have any other traffic tips, please text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. All right, it's a mild start to your day, pleasantly so, a really nice change up compared to the cold that we've endured through, well, really the start of the year, it seems. Not that there weren't mild-ish days in there, but overall it seemed that the narrative was the extreme cold. Well, now things are going to change, and we're into extremes on the other side, because where we're headed over the next couple of days will put us well above seasonal. In fact, where we are this morning is already well above seasonal, -10 at the moment here in Winnipeg, and seeing similar numbers here through southeastern Manitoba. Southwestern Manitoba, even a few degrees warmer than that. Just for a reference point, -10, that would be a normal daytime high. A normal low for this time of year here in Winnipeg would be -21, so we are well above that. We are seeing those low -20s up into the northwest, or low -30s where it's a little bit clearer. We're seeing a difference in the cloud cover. I'll show you the satellite image in a second. First, though, let's talk about the breeze and the impact that it has. Well, where it's -30, it feels like -42 up in Churchill. Here, a wind chill value of -16 isn't so bad at all. And in fact, those winds this morning, they are on the lighter side, but will likely increase throughout the day today. I mentioned the cloud cover, and you can certainly see that along the western half of the province. Clearer off to the east, but that will all change. The clouds will be rolling in, and there might even be a little bit of precipitation to go along with them. Temperatures rising nicely throughout the day today, about -7 by the time kids are coming home from school today, and another couple of gains through the evening time, putting us at -5. Then up to +2 for tomorrow, still with the heavier clouds. Friday will be the day that we dip, but still only slightly. It'll also be the clearest day of the week before those clouds move back in again for the weekend. A church made of ice, yeah, a gorgeous snow sculpture. It's a snow sculpture, not an ice sculpture. Anyway, out in the Steinbach area. Thanks to Sherry for the photo. Keep them coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca, and we're taking a break. We'll see you right after this.
Good morning. A downtown institution has 40 years worth of costumes to rehome. The owners of Harlequin Costume Company are ready to retire. And as CTV's Harrison Shin shows you, that means gowns, tuxedos, and uniforms need to be moved out.
Hangers full of suit jackets and hats. Endless hats. This is Second Story Vintage, named for being on the second floor of Harlequin the Dance Store in Winnipeg's Central Park area.
I don't know who wore these things, but this one's from New York as well.
This one is just one of their collections.
It inspired us to start a store where we could get more information about these items and have people come in and look at them and hopefully purchase some of them.
Some items are about 100 years old. There's so much in stock, Malabar says, whenever a customer asks how many do they have.
We don't know is the answer. We know it's a lot. We know it's in the thousands.
But the time has come and the Malabars are ready to say goodbye to some of their costumes. While the vintage store will stay open, Malabar doesn't want to see their creations, or Jen's so-called babies, go to the landfill.
It's hard to find somebody who has enough space to take in the thousands of costumes that we have in our inventory, not including the vintage ones, but just the regular rental items.
For now, their daughter Kate will run the dancewear portion of the business and the vintage store, but Jen wishes she could find someone to take over the store's theater and costume section so the show can go on. Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A young New Yorker is getting fame for bringing his tunes to the streets and inviting bystanders to jam with him. ABC's Danny New has this story.
Put on like a rock and roll crazy beat.
You give him one request.
About to go to the box. Got caught with an ox.
And on the spot, the man known as Ari at Home will conjure up any beat you'd like.
Every time I'm outside, it's kind of like a party. A little bit now.
In the past 2 years, 26-year-old Ari Miller has become famous to millions online.
Are you jumping on this?
I got it.
Here you go, bro.
As he struts around New York City with his rigged music machine.
I'll take it back on the ground like a Bowser. You can see me Google Chrome, that's the browser.
It makes you wonder if everybody on the planet secretly has musical talent.
The ethos of it is like anyone that wants to get on the mic is allowed to and is able to.
Now, technically speaking, Ari does not have too much formal musical training. But he has clearly been creating his own music from an early age. So after years of experimenting with making beats in his room, in 2023 he had this idea to take his act on the road, or really the streets. This has now led to him collaborating with a violinist. A man on his bicycle with a cat, and even Grammy-winning music legend Wyclef Jean.
The fact that Wyclef Jean was like, I know you, and you were like, you do? He was like, of course I know you.
That was pretty cool.
But Ari says perhaps the most rewarding part of this experience
Shorty, yo, I'm 1,000 in. I can spend 1,000 over here.
has been when two strangers get to connect and perform together on one of his songs, like this one featuring a local rapper and a nearby doorman.
The idea that I get to assist in that's really like beautiful.
Well, isn't that cool? All right, here's a look outside at Portage at Fuller Park. Things are moving well to start off this Wednesday. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Minus 10. What a nice temperature to be waking up to this morning. In fact, that is well above seasonal. Minus 10 would be a normal daytime high. Now, there's a slight breeze. It's out of the northwest, 12 kilometers per hour, making it feel like minus 16. The pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 87%. Either way you look at it, warmer temperatures, and it feels really good. It might end up being too mild. I know where these temperatures are headed is going to make for really messy conditions, but for the morning hours, to step outside right now and not feel that chill to the bone, it really is a nice change up. All right, here's a look at the satellite image. Heavier clouds all along that western border. Clearer off to the east, but these clouds will be moving in. With them comes the possibility of some light and scattered snow, but also some stronger winds that'll be increasing throughout the day today. So while those winds this morning are very light, it's going to be changing as they gust at times to about 50 kilometers per hour. Today it'll be a south wind. These temperatures on the rise. From minus 10 we'll end up at about minus 5 this afternoon, and then continuing to warm up through the overnight hours from minus 5 suddenly to minus 2 by morning time. Now, heavier clouds still expected overnight. That possibility of precipitation, we might start to see that chance of precipitation in more mixed form, especially if we're seeing it at all tomorrow, because tomorrow plus digits are expected. There will be some parts of the province that'll see the plus digits today, all along the western border, very likely to crack the freezing mark. Here on the eastern side, it will take until tomorrow, but then it dips off briefly for Friday. As it clears out, we'll see the sunshine again, but clouding back over again through the weekend, with those clouds sticking around through next week, off and on precipitation, but these above seasonal temperatures continuing.
Manitoba Hydro says it needs to spend about $3.4 billion in the next 10 years to keep up with rising energy demand. That plan is laid out in the Crown Corporation's new Integrated Resources Plan. The report says Hydro needs to increase its electricity capacity by nearly 30% in the next 9 years. It plans to do that by building new wind farms by 2035 and natural gas-fired turbines in Brandon by 2030 to address peak demand in winter. BC Premier David Eby is calling for change as his province continues to deal with dozens of extortion-related shootings.
The idea is ludicrous that somebody involved in functionally, from my perspective, a terror attack in our community that is ongoing is allowed to claim the benefits of refugee status.
Eby says there are a number of loopholes hampering the crackdown, including one that allows suspects to apply for refugee status. There have been dozens of shootings aimed at members of the South Asian community since the new year in Surrey. Premier Eby says changes need to be made in order to help police in their investigations. Eby announced a new community advisory group to help identify gaps and improve communication. He is also urging Ottawa to fast-track 2 bills on criminal code and immigration reforms, saying it would give police more tools to deal with the problem. The beginning of the sexual assault trial for billionaire Canadian auto parts magnate Frank Stronach has been delayed. Proceedings were set to begin Tuesday, but his lawyer asked for more time because of what he describes as voluminous new information received in the last few weeks. The 93-year-old founder of Magna faces 12 charges, including 7 complainants for alleged incidents dating back to the 1970s. Stronach, who denies all allegations, will also stand trial in another case later this year. A new auto strategy could revive electronic vehicle incentives that are currently on pause and taking a toll on Canadian auto workers. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
The auto strategy coming this week. Bringing back incentives for buying EVs was not in the last budget, but heading into cabinet, ministers wouldn't rule it out as part of the new auto strategy.
We'll have more news on that to come.
So it sounds like you're bringing it back.
We'll have more news on that to come.
The auto strategy is being worked on, and these are different conversations we're having.
The industry minister also wouldn't say what will happen to the EV mandate, currently on pause. Sources tell CTV News the new strategy is expected Thursday. Melanie Joly said workers impacted by the loss of the third shift at the GM plant in Oshawa are at the core of new investments.
It's important because we know our auto workers are right now feeling the brunt of the U.S. unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs.
Industry experts say it's not just the uncertainty of American tariffs that hurt, but a lack of information about the deal to allow 49,000 Chinese EVs into the market made during the Prime Minister's trip to Beijing.
We don't know what the parameters of that are, the guardrails around that are. So as opposed to more uncertainty, we need an auto strategy that provides certainty.
And industry hopes something to boost demand after a focus on supply.
The government have not done enough on the demand side. So on the demand side, we actually went backward.
Incentives are important because today the current regime is to mandate the production side of it and to punish producers who don't achieve a certain percentage.
Industry experts predict big changes coming to the EV mandate when the new auto strategy is rolled out, and are hoping it will allow industry to target Canadian demand after being hammered by White House tariffs. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A new study suggests babies are able to distinguish between the different objects they see around them at 2 months old, which is earlier than scientists previously thought.
Infants know a lot more than we thought that they did, and their brains are processing the world around them in hugely complex ways. They're not just lying there passively waiting until they can move around themselves and speak. There's a lot of complex cognitive development happening within the first year of life, and now with this type of method we can really start to measure that.
The findings may help doctors and researchers better understand cognitive development in infancy. The study looked at data from 130 2-month-olds who underwent functional brain imaging while awake. The babies viewed images from 12 categories commonly seen in the first year of life, such as trees and animals. Results were published in Nature Neuroscience on Monday. A winter wonderland made from ice and snow has officially opened in Flintflon. The Flintflon Snow Lodge is a 56-foot-long arch with ice walls. It was quite a feat to build. Snow was blown onto a large steel arc at a high velocity. The steel form was then removed, leaving just the arch behind. There's a number of events, dinners, concerts, and even weddings planned for the icy venue this winter. Hopefully it doesn't melt because things are looking a lot milder outside right now. On the Norwood Bridge, looks like things are moving well. We have no issues to tell you. If you see any problems out on the streets, let us know, please. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.29. The provincial average is $1.20. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.19, and the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.12. All this information is on gasstudy.com. Coming up, it's Heart Month, and we are live with Ainsley McPhail telling us all about heart and stroke and what you need to know. Stay with us.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Beautiful out here this morning. When I step outside, I've been outside about 3 times now over the course of the morning so far, and each time it's almost like a surprise how beautiful and mild it seems. Not at all the shock to the system that perhaps stepping out over the past few weeks have seemed. So -10 is where we begin, and that is a normal daytime high. There is a slight breeze this morning. It's 12 kilometers out of the north-northwest, making that feel like -16. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 87%. I can see a few clouds out here, and every now and then I'll see a snowflake. Not enough to really say it's snowing, but there's that looming precipitation. That'll be across the province today. Many of us could be seeing scattered flurries at times, or over the next couple of days, maybe some mixed precipitation. Now, some heavier clouds along the western borders where the temperatures will be rising the highest today, already very mild, and that's where you could crack the freezing mark, pushing up into the plus digits. Along the eastern side, we're seeing these clouds that'll be building up throughout the day today. It will be a mild day for us, just not quite as warm for us. That real warm up comes tomorrow when we're hitting those plus digits. Heading on over to Ainsley McPhail right now to see where she is and what's going on. Hey, Ainsley.
Hi, Terry. Good morning. It is Heart Month. We're chatting with Heart and Stroke all morning long, including someone with lived experience. Julie Pfeffer joins us. And it wasn't you personally who dealt with this, but you certainly were a bystander in one of your mother's worst moments. Can you tell us about that?
So 4 years ago, I found my mom in cardiac arrest. She had had a heart attack, and then her heart stopped. So thank God for my heart and stroke training and CPR and advanced cardiac life support. I was able to deliver high quality CPR to her. long enough so that until the EMS came and did the real life-saving care, they defibrillated her, sent her off to St. B. She got a pulse on the way, thank goodness, because of what they did for her. And, about an hour later, she was in the cath lab. They placed a stent in her heart. And by the evening, she was conscious, and she went on to make a full cardiac and cognitive recovery. So we are extremely, extremely lucky that not only did she survive, she made a full recovery. So cardiac arrest is very personal to me and my mom, and we are so lucky to have had now going on over 4 years of beautiful time together, that she is, really a big part of our family and our lives, and able to be close with my kids. So really happy that I was there that day and ready to respond to her.
A big part of this, too, is risk factors. What do you want people to know?
Well, my mom had some risk factors for heart attack and cardiac arrest. Some of them we knew about, like hypertension, high cholesterol, so high blood pressure and high cholesterol. But she had rheumatoid arthritis, which we actually didn't know was a risk factor for heart attack. And she was experiencing, it turns out, after the fact, we realized that what she thought was her rheumatoid arthritis flare-up, some pain in her back and her shoulder, was actually angina, which is one of the precursor symptoms to having a heart attack. So she sort of wrote it off as, it's just my rheumatoid, and heart attack symptoms present differently in women, so.
Sorry, if we were on a podcast or something, I would ask you more. We're simply out of time. Stay with us on Your Morning Winnipeg.
Here's a look at the early markets this morning. The Dow Jones added 162 points. The Nasdaq had small gains. The S&P index is 19 points higher. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.20 cents U.S. Overseas, the Hang Seng is flat, and the Nikkei lost 427 points. Good morning. It is 6:46. Winkler is gearing up to host its first ever Pride event later this year.
At the end of each Pride season, we send out a survey and ask, what would you like to see? And last year, number one was, please bring it to Winkler.
And that's what Pembina Valley Pride plans to do on June 13th. Planning is underway to host the event in Winkler, which is expected to include speakers, a market, rainbow church services, and more. Organizers say having Pride in smaller areas allow people to feel supported and accepted without having to leave their home community.
We want them to know that they're not alone, that you can come together, be yourself, and share who you are.
Pembina Valley Pride expects around 200 to 300 people to attend. It hosted its first ever parade in 2019 in Morden. Since then, it's also held events in Altona and Carmen. You don't need to stick your head out the window the next time you're wondering if the plows are coming. The city has just updated its online snow clearing map. The online tool now updates about every 15 minutes, showing which sidewalks and paths are being cleared and which ones are already done. The city says staff used to enter the information manually, usually after a 12-hour shift. Now the site uses automatic vehicle location technology to show almost real-time progress. A Canadian soldier who died while deployed in Latvia was honored back here at home.
It hits close to home. There was a few people in my unit who knew him personally, and we wanted to come show support.
The casket carrying gunner Sebastian Halmajan was carried onto the tarmac at CFB Trenton. Family, dignitaries, and military members honored the young soldier at the repatriation ceremony. A motorcade then took the casket along the Highway of Heroes as crowds along the way paid their respects. Halmajan was 24 years old. He died last week while serving as part of NATO's Operation Reassurance in Latvia. The suspects in a major police investigation in London, Ontario, are now appearing in court. This morning, one of the 4 suspects will appear for a bail hearing. 2 of the cases have been put over until February 10th, and another suspect will be in court February 24th. Several serious charges have been laid against them, including manufacturing weapons. The police investigation started after one of the suspects was arrested on Western University's campus with a loaded handgun. That led to a search at a nearby home where police said they found chemicals which could be used to make explosives. Prince Edward has broken the royal family's silence on the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, becoming the first senior royal to speak publicly about it.
I think it's all really important always to remember the victims and who are the victims in all this.
His remarks follow new Epstein documents released linking his brother Andrew to the late sex offender and financier. Andrew faces growing pressure to give evidence regarding what he knows, but has denied any wrongdoing. The Heart and Stroke Foundation has released a new report revealing that 6 million Canadians are now living with heart disease or the effects of a stroke. Among the findings in the report, 9 in 10 Canadians have at least one risk factor for heart disease or stroke. It also says almost 80% of premature heart disease and stroke can be prevented by making healthy lifestyle choices, while other risk factors can be managed through lifestyle changes and medication. China is banning hidden door handles on electric vehicles. Now, this type of door handle was widely adopted by Tesla and is now a common design feature for EVs. China is banning them, saying they're not safe in emergencies. Under the new rules, electric car doors must have a mechanical release inside and outside. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. The westbound curb lane on Marion Street is closed from Dawson Road to Dupuis Avenue. The southbound curb lane on Taché Avenue is closed from Despins to Dollard Boulevard. And the eastbound curb lane on Selkirk Avenue is closed from Salter Street to Aitken Street. If you have any other traffic tips, text them to us, please.
Minus 10 this morning, a beautiful mild start to your Wednesday, feeling like minus 16 if you're factoring in that breeze. It's a 12-kilometer-per-hour wind out of the northwest with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. So pleasant when you step outside that door. It's almost a little bit of, whoa, what's going on? Because it seems like it's been weeks that we've dealt now with those below seasonal temperatures, or when it warmed up briefly over the weekend, those intense winds. Now, those winds might be back again, although we are experiencing the light breeze this morning, but later on this afternoon things could change regarding the breeze. Here you can see the clouds moving in, but where it's cloudy it's already milder, and that's also where the temperatures will be rising the highest today, although everybody is likely in for above seasonal temperatures. It might remain a little bit colder up in the far northeast where it's currently the clearest, but you too can expect some clouds and maybe a bit of precipitation to roll through. Many of us will have a chance of seeing some precipitation. Currently the situation in Winnipeg is, I've been seeing like 2 to 3 snowflakes each time that I'm outside. Let's talk about these numbers though. Well above seasonal, as I mentioned, and perhaps even into the plus digits for anybody that's along that western border. Mercury will be rising well above seasonal today. Even for us here in the southeast, it'll be an above seasonal day, just not quite as shockingly mild. However, tomorrow we could get that shock of the plus digits, with the mercury expected to continue to rise overnight and then reach into those plus digits for tomorrow. So a couple of very mild days ahead, but we'll also deal with the heavier clouds and that possibility of precipitation, which could be in mixed form as these temperatures reach into the plus digits. Clearing out briefly Friday, that's when the temperatures dip ever so slightly, minus 10 being normal for this time of year. We might be just below that, but back up with those above seasonal temperatures. Heavier clouds, though, will be moving in for the weekend and bringing some off and on scattered precipitation throughout parts of next week.
Thank you, Terry. Each year, hundreds of children in Toronto suffer accidental burns bad enough to be taken to hospital. But a new campaign is aiming to reduce that number. CTV's Pauline Chen has the details.
All it takes is a second. Then all it takes is a frantic call to 911.
It's a frighteningly common scenario that often ends up here in the burn ward at Sick Kids.
So in any given year, we have 400 to 500 children that are burned at home that come into our care. If this were car accidents, that would be 1 or 2 children a day having a car accident. Nobody would ever put up with this.
Dr. Joel Fish says scalding from hot liquids is the biggest cause.
80% of them are under the age of 3. 85% of them happen from just simple scald burns, hot liquids, tea, soup.
All it takes is a second to turn away a pot handle or move a hot mug to prevent a terrible accident. The hospital is especially grateful to actor Jason Priestley, whose voice fans will recognize on the public service announcements.
Physically, emotionally.
And if an accident should happen,
simple basic first aid, cool room temperature running water wherever you can access it. You apply it to the burn for 10 to 20 minutes. This will cool the burn, it will help with their pain, and it will lessen the degree of injury to the skin.
Do use cool water and don't do these things.
You do not put ice on a freshly burned area. It could deepen the area. The other big don't out there is toothpaste. We don't know why this is spread, and people say, oh, you put toothpaste. Toothpaste has fluoride. fluoride then acts as a chemical and it will deepen the burn.
How do you stop it from happening?
And the hospital is eager to spread the message, so they're encouraging parents to download the PSAs and share them on social media. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Many people have a jar of food that's been in the back of the fridge for a long time, but likely not as long as a Vancouver Island man who has kept the same egg in his fridge. It's been there for more than 50 years. CTV's Adam Sawatsky shows you why.
When David Jevney was almost 6 years old, he woke up before his parents on Easter morning, took a raw egg out of the fridge, and drew a face on it.
Why not? Doesn't everybody draw a face on an egg at Easter and put it back in the fridge?
David doesn't remember why he did it or why his parents kept it, but he can't forget it being a constant while growing up.
And when you open the fridge door, you would always see it looking back at you.
More than a decade later, after David moved out, the egg stayed put.
A little bit of family history.
Does it have a name?
Egbert. With 2 G's. There's no better name for an egg. It's the only name for an egg.
Egbert remained in his parents' fridge, uncracked and uncooked, for 50 years, until they passed away and David packed it up to move in with him and his wife, Lise.
The reaction was probably, oh my goodness, okay, well, do we have to take it to the next house we're moving to?
But after moving with the egg 5 times since, Lise has grown to appreciate it every day.
It's like, oh, right, there's Egbert. So good morning. Yeah, I haven't said good morning, but I'm probably saying it in my mind to him. Yeah.
And soon they'll be saying happy birthday to him. Because although Egbert's insides have started rattling,
he's still in there.
His outside remains unscathed.
Not one crack.
Egbert's kind of inspirational.
He is. He's strong.
And he's set to celebrate being 60 years old. How long is Egbert going to stay in the fridge?
Forever. As long as I'm here. And the older you get, the neater it is.
And the older we get, the more precious we realize life is. So when we can find something that connects us with our past and improves our present, why not preserve it into the future?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
Who knew a 50-year-old egg would have quite a story? Here's a look outside now at McPhillip Street. Things are moving well to start off this Wednesday morning. We're going to be right back after this. It's Wednesday, February the 4th. Today, Golden Door takeover, how the province moves to expropriate a Fort Garry care home to keep it open. Plus, Churchill Port push. Premier announces funding amid environmental concerns over port expansion. And free Sunday fun. The WAG opens its doors with art, games, hands-on activities, and no admission starting this weekend. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. It is 7 o'clock on your Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. At 7:52, we're going to get an update from the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce. They've just conducted a 2025 business outlook survey, and some of the numbers and some of the results are a little bit worrying for some businesses here in this province. So we're going to find out what they're worried about, what's coming up next for them in the future, and what they'd like to see as well happen in the next year or so. So we're going to have details on that. But waking up this morning, Terry, my garage was clear of exhaust fog, which it's usually been really thick with it. It was a beautiful, mild start to the day.
Isn't it pleasant out there? Every time I step inside, I'm like, oh, it just feels so nice. And what a beautiful change up compared to what we've endured for much of this year so far. All right, -10 is where the temperature sits. It feels, though, like -16. Just a bit of a breeze out of the northwest, 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 87%. We were seeing some clearer conditions just briefly. I mean, for the most part, it was cloudy through most of yesterday and overnight, but then we had just a clear patch, not for long. You can see those clouds. They're squeezing back in over us again. Where it is clear up in the far northeast, it's a little bit colder yet, but even there you can see the clouds that will be moving in. And where those clouds are already along the western border, the temperature is even milder yet. but we will still probably see a little bit of light and scattered snow today, or heavier, more dense snow moving through parts of northern Manitoba, central Manitoba. Whatever falls for us here in the south will be on the lighter side. But this isn't the end of it, because that's one round. Then these temperatures, which will rise throughout the day, continue to rise overnight, and even more so throughout the day tomorrow. Could still see more precipitation, and this time in mixed form. With the temperatures expected to push into the plus digits, there could be a little bit of rain or freezing rain tucked in there as well. Then it clears out. That'll be for Friday. It's also the day the temperatures will dip. Only briefly back down below seasonal, but only slightly below seasonal. What is normal? -10. We're already there now, and we'll continue to make these gains, pushing up into the plus digits for Thursday. Dipping slightly below seasonal, but that's when we'll see some sunshine again. Not for long, though. Heavier clouds back in for the weekend, and those mild temperatures continuing well into the middle of next week. And a big thank you to Zoe, 9 years old, for the artwork today. Beautiful painting that you've done here, and we'd love to see more of your art, so keep sending those pictures to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
We have an update for you now on the Golden Door Geriatric Centre. The province is taking over the 78-bed personal care home in Fort Garry to ensure it's remaining open. Manitoba's health minister says after attempts to acquire it stalled, the government decided to expropriate the building from its private owner. And as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, this is a first within the health system.
The Manitoba government is expropriating the 78-bed personal care home on Pembina Highway after it says the private owner planned to close it.
The expropriation is absolutely a last resort. This is not a light step to take. I don't take it lightly. Government doesn't take it lightly.
The province says last year the Golden Door Geriatric Centre filed a closure notice for March 31st this year. It says the centre, which gets public funding, stopped taking new admissions, and as a result, 25 beds are currently empty.
That's 25 families that could have dignity for their loved one.
So the province has put an interim management team in place, and expropriation proceedings to take the facility are underway after negotiations to acquire the care home hit a standstill. They also plan to reopen the 25 beds.
We'll do everything we can to make sure that seniors have homes in this province, and that healthcare workers who provide care to seniors in these personal care homes have their jobs that they love.
The Manitoba Government and General Employees Union represents 70 workers at the home and sent CTV News a statement. These members care deeply about their work and the people they support. We hope that this will bring some stability to the residents and the workers who work with them. The move is a rare one. The province says this is the first time attempts to take a building have been done within the health system. Normally, when governments undertake expropriation proceedings, the target is land, like the LeMay Forest, not a personal care home. And it's unclear what this will cost taxpayers.
It's far more expensive for seniors to lose their homes. It's far more expensive to build, we know, personal care homes.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The health minister says going forward, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority will operate the facility. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says he was in Churchill yesterday, and while he was there, he faced questions about a push to expand the community's port.
You want to pass something on today, tomorrow, and that will keep everybody going. And I don't want to have anything negative to the environment.
Community members are worried about the environmental impact of expanding the Port of Churchill Plus project. Upgrading the port would make the site a year-round trade hub connecting Canada to global markets. Manitoba is working on a report for Ottawa's Major Projects Office to address environmental concerns. Premier Kinew announced $250,000 to explore creating a national marine conservation area. Some dash cam video now showing the moment a vehicle careened off a highway overpass in the west end of Toronto. The vehicle collided with a transport truck in the lanes below. 2 people were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say speed and snow may have been factors. The hockey community and families across the country are honoring the lives of 3 young players killed in a devastating crash in Alberta.
It's generations of early mornings, long drives, cold rinks, and proud parents in the stands. These young men were part of that story, and we will honor them. This loss is felt not only in Staveley and Nanton, but across our surrounding communities and our country.
That's Nanton's Mayor Jennifer Hanley paying tribute to Caden Fine, JJ Wright, and Cameron Casorso, who were killed in a car crash while heading to practice Monday morning. Their stories run deep in the southern Alberta community as well as in Kamloops, where 2 of the boys were from. People who knew them say they're in shock and are finding relief in the memories, remembering their joy and skill on the ice. As for the crash, RCMP believe this was a tragic accident. No criminal charges are expected. Europe is moving ahead with a plan to ditch U.S. digital programs. In France, civil servants will now no longer use Zoom or Teams and will instead use a homegrown video conference system. Soldiers in Austria are using open source office software to write reports after the military dropped Microsoft Office. Privacy concerns are one of the reasons behind the shift. A pool in the Niagara Park neighborhood may soon bear the name of a longtime public servant. St. Boniface councillor Matt Allard has put forward a motion to rename Bonnie Vital Pool. If successful, the facility would be renamed Dan Vandel Bonnie Vital Pool in honor of the longtime area councillor and MP. Vandel dedicated more than 26 years to public service, including 5 terms as a councillor for St. Boniface and more than a decade representing the area in the House of Commons. Vandel announced in 2024 he would not seek re-election. The motion was approved by the Community Services Committee Tuesday. However, Councillor Emma Duran-Wood voted in opposition as Allard wants to waive the Public Services review of the name change. The motion will be discussed at the next Executive Policy Committee meeting in 2 weeks. The Toronto Blue Jays are finally going to immortalize the greatest moment in franchise history. The team has announced plans to build a statue honoring the back-to-back World Series wins in 1992 and 1993 with a statue of Joe Carter's iconic home run. It will be unveiled on July 18th outside Rogers Centre. It's one of numerous celebrations the Jays will hold this year for their 50th season. Here's what's happening right now. Kennison and Sterling Lyon. We have no issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. It's messy out there, so be mindful that you need to fill up your windshield washer fluid.
Toys R Us Canada is filing for creditor protection. The company says it's working on a restructuring that could see its footprint further diminish or the whole business sold to new owners. In court documents, Toys R Us says the step was necessary as the company was struggling to cope with inflation, rising labor costs, and supply chain disruptions. Glencore is suspending nearly $1 billion Canadian in investment plans for a century-old copper smelter in Quebec. The company has been in talks with the Quebec government over timelines and targets for cutting harmful pollutions, but those talks have reportedly reached an impasse. Glencore says it needs more visibility on the renewal of an environmental permit. Those are your morning business headlines for BNN Bloomberg. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. February is Heart Month. Good morning. Are you working out?
Well, I'm trying to avoid the risk factors, Rochelle. That's what we're learning out throughout the morning. And there's many of them. If you're watching at home, hey, why not? Let's do some chair exercises together. Get that heart pumping, you know, fruits and vegetables as well. Cholesterol, smoking. The research says that less people are smoking, but vaping is unfortunately on the rise, especially with our young people. A stat that I heard, 1 in 4 grade 12 students vapes, and that will increase the chances of those folks smoking as well. My personal opinion, you look kind of stupid. Anyways, coming up at 7:27, we're chatting with a cardiologist who's going to elaborate on that. We're also chatting with somebody who works with government to kind of move that conversation forward when it comes to heart and stroke. So stay with us throughout the morning and, you know, keep that heart pumping, everybody.
All right, we'll try that. Thank you, Ainsley. Sometimes going for a walk will get that heart rate going, and it's mild enough to do that right now.
Yeah, when the conditions are in our favor like this, absolutely. Take advantage of it. Get outside, get moving. Just enjoy the nice change up, first of all, that it's been, but the fact that we can get outside, get some fresh air, move that body a little bit without having to rush back inside because it's in that dangerously cold zone. I know we haven't been in the dangerously cold zone for some, but it certainly has been well below seasonal, and now we're swinging to the other side of that to well above seasonal. For example, minus 21, that would be a normal low temperature, and here we are sitting at minus 10 with a wind chill value of minus 15, and even then the winds on the lighter side out of the west-northwest, 9 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity is sitting at 87%. But a really nice change up compared to where we've been. I feel like most of January was spent well below seasonal, and now moving into February, it's looking like a good stretch of it will be well above seasonal, because for the next several days, days. The mercury will be on the rise and dealing with above seasonal values with the exception of Friday. So here's how things are going to look. We've got these heavier clouds hanging around. Could see some light and scattered snow. Winnipeg rising to a high of -5, but anybody along the western border could be hitting plus digits today. We're likely to see those numbers for tomorrow. Possibility of some mixed precipitation. The slight dip that I'm talking about, that will come on Friday as the sky clears out. Sunshine expected only for a day. It clouds over again the weekend, and those mild temperatures will be back again.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
It's time now for a question of the day. Today is National Homemade Soup Day, so we want to know, what's your favorite homemade soup? Any recipe that reminds you of something, please share the details with us. If you have photos, we love seeing them. You can text your answer to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response, and don't forget to include your name, please. At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions are amazing. We want more. Whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. Well, it's finally warming up outside, but it means messy roads. We'll be right back after this break. Good morning. Details about the events leading up to a fatal police shooting were put into focus on the second day of an inquest into the death of 16-year-old Aisha Hudson. Aisha Hudson was killed in 2020 following a police pursuit in response to a liquor store robbery by a group of teens. In an agreed statement of facts, court heard Aisha was driving a stolen Jeep when some of her passengers robbed a liquor store. One of them also threatened staff before the group took off. A store employee reported the theft to police. They described the suspects as Indigenous youth between the ages of 15 and 18. Court heard that the vehicle had rammed a police cruiser as well as hit other cars during the pursuit before shots were fired. Economic uncertainty and trade disruptions are proving to be major concerns for Manitoba businesses. That's according to the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce's 2025 Business Outlook Survey released Tuesday. It found 80% of respondents had some level of concern about trade disruptions, including nearly 30% who are very concerned. However, it isn't the only issue facing Manitoba businesses. 3 in 5 say the biggest barrier to growth right now is the cost of doing business, followed by labor availability and workforce retention. Looking to the future, a majority of those polled say eliminating interprovincial trade barriers should be the government's top priority to reduce uncertainty. The survey by Léger of 157 Manitoba business leaders was conducted online between November 17th and December 17th of last year. Crews are cleaning up what remains of a notorious Main Street hotel. A city spokesperson confirms the contractor hired to remediate the site of the Manwin Hotel has received all the necessary approvals and permits. The work was put on hold after the discovery of asbestos. The bulk of the work is expected to be completed in the next week. The hotel went up in flames 3 weeks ago. Free Sundays at the WAG are sticking around. The Art Gallery says the program is continuing for another 3 years through 2028. The Art Gallery offers free admission on the second Sunday of every month. It includes family-friendly activities like games, art making, tours, and performances. The WAG says more than 40,000 people have popped in on Free Sundays since the program's inception. The next Free Sunday is happening this weekend. The WAG is open from 11 to 5. Here's a look at what's happening now in traffic along Osborne Street. Things are moving well to start off this Wednesday morning. If you see any issues out there, let us know, please.
Traffic is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your car today.
We're getting a look at the latest historical drama from FX.
Isn't enough exposure in the world to prepare a woman to be your wife?
It's not a question of if I want to spend the rest of my life with you. It's a question of if I'm cut out to be Mrs. JFK Jr.
Love Story John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette is a limited series following the lives and love story of the couple. Ryan Murphy is the executive producer, and this is the first installment of an upcoming love story anthology. FX has also produced a number of American crime story historical dramas. This one premieres February the 12th. Can you imagine having Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence as your grandparents? This baby on the way has that to look forward to. This is Jasmine Lawrence. She is Martin Lawrence's daughter. Her husband is Eric Murphy, who is Eddie Murphy's son. Jasmine just announced her pregnancy. The couple married last May. Eddie Murphy has joked in the past that he expects their future child to be funny. And it's no secret, actor Jon Hamm made the most of his time here in Winnipeg. He was spotted at Jets games, the Grey Cup, and at plenty of restaurants around the city. Turns out he also found time to check out the Winnipeg Art Gallery. WAG staff tell us Hamm popped in just before the holidays for a tour. Hamm told staff he often visits art galleries when he's visiting a new place. Hamm was especially taken aback by some of the Inuit carvings and expressed how he wanted to learn more about the land he was filming on. Hamm was joined by some of the crew from his upcoming TV series, American Hostage. The Masked Singer starts your primetime lineup tonight at 7. Next is Fear Factor, House of Fear at 8. Catch Shark Tank at 9, and Shifting Gears winds up the night at 10 o'clock. It's all right here tonight on CTV. Well, it's Wednesday, and finally, the cold has left us.
I am with you on that. Finally, yes. It seems like it's been ages. And I know there were a couple of days throughout January where we had those swings with the temperatures, but overall, the main messaging of January was extreme cold. So now to be moving into February and get this nice change up, it does feel so well deserved. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. I don't know if weather can be deserved in any way, whether it be cold or mild, but certainly it does feel like we have almost earned this bit of a warm up, and we're going to notice it shockingly so, almost too much so for some of the wintertime fun that we might still want to get to. Today will be perfect for a lot of those activities. Where we're sitting right now at -10, it is very pleasant out there, and you're noticing very similar temperatures here along this southeastern stretch. Western Manitoba considerably milder, and will make considerably milder gains through the day today, or more shocking gains, pushing above the freezing mark right from the south up into parts of northern Manitoba. Now it is a little bit clearer over here in the northeast, and you're seeing now with the numbers -32 in Churchill, feels like -42. That's once you're factoring in a wind this morning. Here, even with the winds factored in, a -15 wind chill value, well, -21, that would be a normal low temperature, and we're well above that, and we'll stay above that for the next stretch of days. The heavier clouds are moving in. They could bring a little bit of light snow. So far I've seen a flake or two. Nothing significant, but we might see a little bit more of that off and on throughout the next couple of days, rising to a high of -7. That's not even the high. Rising to -7 by the time kids are coming home from school, and gaining another couple of degrees into the evening time, and maybe even a few more degrees overnight as that temperature continues to warm up and push us above the freezing mark as we're looking ahead to tomorrow. A beautiful shot of a snow sculpture out in the Steinbach area. Hopefully these mild temperatures don't ruin all of that hard work. Thanks to Sherry for sharing the photo with us. Keep them coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
February 4th, 1947. The lowest recorded temperature in Canadian history was observed at Snag, Yukon. The thermometer tumbled to -68.2 degrees Celsius. February 4th, 1974, newspaper heiress Patricia Hearst was kidnapped in Berkeley, California by the Symbionese Liberation Army. After her 2 months in captivity, Hearst was alleged to have joined the group and was seen and photographed holding a firearm during a bank holdup on April 3rd of that year. February 4th, 2023, the U.S. military shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the Carolina coast on orders from President Joe Biden. It had been tracked as it traveled over sensitive military sites across North America.
NASA's Artemis 2 mission hasn't launched yet, but this scientist is already working on Artemis 3.
You will have a new batch of samples from somewhere on the moon we've never been to before, either with robots or humans.
Dr. Gordon Osinski from Western University in Ontario is part of Artemis 3's science team. That mission plans to land astronauts on the moon and bring them back with new space rocks. Artemis 3 is more than a year away. In the meantime, NASA's focus is on the upcoming Artemis 2 launch, which could happen in March. A pop culture phenomenon has increased demand on the Winnipeg Public Library's collection.
Canada-Russia final showcasing the two most talked about prospects in the world. Canada's Shane Hollander.
Shane Hollander, I wanted to introduce myself.
Okay. And Russia's Ilya Rozanov.
The popularity of the heated rivalry TV show has sparked an uptick in requests for the book series. The city's libraries have 20 physical copies. Those have been checked out over 300 times since the start of the year, with 140 names on the wait list. The ebook is up to 290 hold requests, and the audiobook is topping 150 names.
A book can be a few years old, and then all of a sudden an announcement for a movie or TV series comes out, and there's usually an uptick in holds.
The show is adapted from the second book in the Game Changer series by Nova Scotia author Rachel Reed, released in 2024. Collections librarian Aileen Clear says there's also been recent jumps for the Hunger Games series and Hamnet. Would you be able to relax while doing this? A group of people took to the icy waters near Moscow for some ice floating. The suits they're wearing preserve body heat. The exercise involves spending 20 to 40 minutes in the water. On this day, the air temperatures were about minus 20 degrees Celsius. Ice floating is meant to be relaxing, and some people say the suits made it feel like they were in a sauna. This could be your pick for a chance to win with our Best in Fest contest. Festival du Voyageur returns February 13th to the 22nd, and we want to see how you're gearing up. We have some examples. Annette shared a photo with Leo Latuc. Jolene stopped on the trail to have a cup of tea and watch the sunset. And Kara is enjoying the winter by climbing snow hills and watching fireworks. Upload your own photo to our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca, or post it to social media using the hashtag BestInFestContest. Weekly winners will be selected to win a 4-pack of passes to Festival du Voyageur. All right, we are live with Ainsley this morning with the Heart and Stroke Foundation. It's all about Heart Month. Stay with us. It's Heart Month, and we need to take care of our hearts and know how to do that. Good morning, Ainsley. Tell us more.
Well, a good laugh will take care of your heart, Michelle. I noticed that just when they went to the bumper shot, I was like, but truly, laughter is the best medicine. And we're chatting with a cardiologist right now during Heart Month, of course, Justin Cloutier. Thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
A big chat earlier was about risk factors. What is the one thing you want people to know?
Yeah, what's really interesting and came out of the Heart and Stroke Foundation's report is that honestly, the vast majority of Canadians, 9 out of 10 Canadians, have a risk factor for heart disease, and many of them don't know it actually. And so it's important to know what those major risk factors are. A lot of them can be completely asymptomatic, meaning you're not going to feel anything necessarily. So things like high blood pressure, diabetes, having high cholesterol. These are things that you can walk around and have no idea that you have. And so it's really important to get checked out because these are extremely modifiable things that can be managed and can help reduce your chance of heart disease.
Okay, so item 1, get checked out. Yeah. Item 2, what are some practical things that we can be doing to live a healthier lifestyle and improve that overall?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we've made a lot of gains as a society. When you look back in the 1960s, 50% of Canadians were smoking cigarettes. Nowadays, it's closer to 11%. So we've made some progress in some ways. Now, on the other hand, we know that the majority of people are still not getting the physical activity that you need to get. Same with youth. When you look at our youth, unfortunately, only a small proportion of youth are getting the physical activity that they ought to get. We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, not looking after our blood pressure. So these are some things and some, honestly, potentially low-hanging fruit that we can try to address.
Men and women present differently when it comes to heart issues. What are a few of those things people can identify?
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, women historically were very underrepresented in clinical trials and how we talked about heart disease. We know that women, especially after menopause, have a risk equal or greater than that of men of having heart disease. And so it's important to know that all people are at risk for heart disease. Women can present with those typical symptoms of, let's say, a heart attack where you get heavy chest discomfort, sweating.
Yeah. We're out of time, but you know what? We're going to launch that into the next conversation. It's in about 10-15 minutes time. Stay with us.
Thank you, Ainsley. Well, 2 days ago, Terry, I finally washed my car for the first time in 2 weeks because it's been so gross outside and so cold, right? And now it's dirty again. It doesn't take much with these conditions.
I know. Today isn't even going to be as bad as tomorrow, for example. The mess is just going to build up on those streets. And of course, then we got all of that snow over the weekend that really didn't help what we're about to move on into as far as slushy, messy conditions, because it just means more mess. Minus 10 is where we're sitting right now. Minus 15 is what it feels like, as once you're factoring in the breeze, but it's light at the moment. Out of the west-northwest, just 9 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 87%. So yes, it is going to be a mild day today. I think a lot of us have been waiting for a bit of a warm-up. Maybe too much of a warm-up is what Mother Nature is dishing up, but we never really get a say in it. We just have to appreciate whatever she's dishing up at any given time. And today it is easy to appreciate, or at least this morning anyway. We will see these clouds continuously building up through the day today, but the temperature is quite mild right now, sitting at minus 10. That would actually be a normal daytime high, but we'll surpass that as we head to minus 5 this afternoon. Now, the winds this morning are on the lighter side, but that will change into the afternoon. Those winds gusting to about 50 kilometers per hour, so milder but windier. And then those temperatures continue to warm up overnight to about minus 2 by morning time. Winds will have shifted by then out of the west at about 20 kilometers per hour and continuing to warm up throughout the day tomorrow, 2 degrees on tap. Now, some parts of the province all along the western border, you could be moving up into those plus digits today. For us, it'll be tomorrow on the eastern side, and then Friday dipping slightly as it clears out. But the rebound comes with those temperatures and some heavier clouds back for the weekend.
Homeless encampments are now banned near public areas like playgrounds and schools, and we're nearly 3 months into the city's enforcement of the new rules. But that work slowed down last month, with city staff saying the frigid temperatures are to blame.
January was a very cold month, and most of the time unsheltered residences will go seek shelter. They'll either go to a 24-hour safe space or go into shelter space.
According to city data, 2 high-priority encampments were actioned during the month of January, meaning an outreach worker visited the site, signage was put up, or the site was cleared after being vacated. Since mid-November, the city has prohibited encampments near playgrounds, schools, transit shelters, bridges, and rail crossings. Community Development Manager Greg McPherson told the city's Community Services Committee a total of 14 encampments have been actioned since the policy took effect, while 37 have been remediated and 85 have been inspected by bylaw enforcement officers.
We're working very closely with the province on a number of encampments to try to house people.
Community Services Chair Councillor Vivian Santos says the true test of the city's encampment policy will come when the weather warms up and living outside becomes less hazardous, at least as far as temperatures go. Manitoba Hydro says it needs to spend about $3.4 billion in the next 10 years to keep up with rising energy demand. That plan is laid out in the Crown Corporation's new Integrated Resources Plan. The report says Hydro needs to increase its electricity capacity by nearly 30% in the next 9 years. It plans to do that by building new wind farms by 2035 and natural gas-fired turbines in Brandon by 2030 to address peak demand in winter. BC Premier David Eby is calling for change as his province continues to deal with dozens of extortion-related shootings.
The idea is ludicrous that somebody involved in functionally, from my perspective, a terror attack in our community that is ongoing is allowed to claim the benefits of refugee status.
Eby says there are a number of loopholes hampering the crackdown, including one that allows suspects to apply for refugee status. There have been dozens of shootings aimed at members of the South Asian community since the new year in Surrey. Premier Eby says changes need to be made in order to help police in their investigations. Eby announced a new community advisory group to help identify gaps and improve communication. He's also urging Ottawa to fast-track 2 bills on criminal code and immigration reforms, saying it would give police more tools to deal with the problem. Russia is targeting Ukraine's energy sector while temperatures in the country are especially cold. Ukraine's prime minister says that Russia has attacked its energy infrastructure 217 times since the start of the year. Attacks have caused widespread blackouts and forced people out of their homes. The temperature in parts of Ukraine fell to minus 20 today. As attacks continue, trilateral talks will resume in Abu Dhabi. This morning, Ukraine says talks with Russia and the U.S. will focus on military issues rather than disputes over territory. Canada has updated its travel advisory for Cuba, urging travelers to exercise a high degree of caution as the Caribbean country is facing worsening shortages of electricity, fuel, and basic necessities. To reduce pressure on the electrical network, Cuba schedules long daily power cuts, but Ottawa says nationwide outages can still occur unexpectedly and may last hours. The updated advisory also warns that fuel shortages have made traveling across the island extremely difficult, with public transportation frequently disrupted. Alarming data from a new study says ultra-processed foods like pop and sweets are, quote, carefully engineered to encourage consumption and should be regulated like cigarettes. The study looked at the design, marketing, and distribution of ultra-processed foods and how they mirror tactics used by the tobacco industry. The findings argue these foods come with serious health risks and should be considered addictive as they optimize craving, rapid intake, and repeated use. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. The westbound curb lane on Marion Street is closed from Dawson Road to Dupuis Avenue. The southbound curb lane on Taché Avenue is closed from Despain Street to Dollard Boulevard. And the eastbound curb lane on Selkirk Avenue is closed from Salter Street to Aiken Street. If you have any other traffic tips, text them to us, please. And here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.29. In the province, it's $1.20. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.19. And the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.12. All this information is on gasbuddy.com. Right now, it's -10 with the wind chill. Feels like -15. Still quite balmy, though. Your Morning Winnipeg is back after this break.
There's a look outside, a beautiful and mild start to your Wednesday morning, -10. That would actually be a normal daytime high. We've been there all morning long and we'll continue to make some gains today. Now, there is a bit of a breeze. It's out of the west-northwest. It's 9 kilometers per hour, making it feel like -15. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 87%. Just to give you an idea of what is normal for this time of year, because I know we haven't really experienced much that has been normal. It's either been well below seasonal or maybe the odd day of above seasonal temperatures in January, but most of it below. And now all of a sudden we're above seasonal. Seasonal lows would be about -21, and we're closer to those daytime highs to begin the day, but we'll be surpassing those highs as it continues to warm up. You can see on the satellite image the heavier clouds that are moving in. Along the western border, that's where things will be even more shockingly mild today. Plus digits are expected. Along the eastern border, things will be a little bit cooler, especially up in the Churchill area. You're dealing this morning with wind chill values in the -40s. You will warm up a little bit, -23, but also clouds will be moving in. I know it's been clear so far this morning, but expect some clouds and maybe some precipitation. And in fact, many places across northern Manitoba, even central Manitoba, will be in for some snow today. Aside from the far northeast, other places will be on the milder side, nowhere near as mild as the western half of the province, because that's where the temperatures will be either close to the freezing mark or above it. Plus digits for many folks along that western border. That includes southern Manitoba as well, pushing above the freezing mark or maybe remaining just below. But honestly, it's talking a degree. Here in the southeast, it won't be quite as warm. In Winnipeg, expecting a high of -5. I mentioned -10 being normal, so still beyond those numbers, and then continuing to warm up overnight and even more so tomorrow. Today, expect some heavier clouds. In fact, for tomorrow too, some heavier clouds, maybe some scattered precipitation, possibly mixed as we push above the freezing mark, dipping only slightly Friday as the sunshine returns.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about Heart Month, and you're with the Heart and Stroke Foundation this morning, speaking with a cardiologist. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. Yes, Dr. Justin Cloutier. And we're going to pick up exactly where we left off. We were talking about women's heart health and how they present differently, specifically after menopause. So what happens when a woman's experiencing heart issues?
Yeah, so we know that women will tend to present still honestly with chest pain, so we don't want to forget that. But at the same time, women will often present with more than one symptom, which can sometimes make the diagnosis more challenging. So they'll more often have symptoms like shortness of breath, maybe they'll have some nausea, they'll have palpitations, headaches. Now, it's not to say that all of those symptoms mean you're having a heart attack. I don't want people to misconstrue that. But, as opposed to men who will more commonly have just that sort of classic Hollywood heart attack with the chest pain, heaviness in the middle. Women will tend to present with chest pain and these other symptoms. So it's important to pay attention. Now, the most important thing, though, is, again, that ounce of prevention, getting checked out, looking at your blood pressure, women or men or whatever your gender is. These are the things you can work on before you get to the point of having a heart attack.
Speaking of prevention, switching gears to a totally different demographic, teens. You're seeing vaping on the rise.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at, I think you were talking about that earlier, but up to 25% of high schoolers are now vaping. Now, I don't want to put vaping and cigarettes on exactly the same level. We know that cigarettes are extremely harmful and one of the most significant risk factors for heart attacks and strokes. But we are starting to learn some of the very ill effects of vaping on the lungs. And we were talking about during the break, we don't know that 10-year data or 20-year data for vaping. And so, there are concerns that it causes high blood pressure, lung problems, and so the point is, if you're smoking something, it's not good for you.
Thank you so much for this conversation about heart health. We've got more coming up in the 8 o'clock hour at 8:06 specifically. But hey, eat your fruits and vegetables. It's always a good one.
Thank you, Ainsley. A young New Yorker is gaining fame for bringing his tunes to the streets and inviting bystanders to jam with him. ABC's Danny New has the story.
Put on like a rock and roll crazy beat.
You give him one request.
About to go to the box. Got caught with an ox.
And on the spot, the man known as Ari at Home will conjure up any beat you'd like.
Every time I'm outside, it's kind of like a party. A little bit now.
In the past few years, 26-year-old Ari Miller has become famous to millions online.
Are you jumping on this?
I got it.
Here you go, bro.
As he struts around New York City with his rigged music machine.
I'll take it back on the ground like a Bowser. You can see me Google Chrome, that's the browser.
It makes you wonder if everybody on the planet secretly has musical talent.
The ethos of it is like anyone that wants to get on the mic is allowed to and is able to.
Now, technically speaking, Ari does not have too much formal musical training. But he has clearly been creating his own music from an early age.
And I wake up feeling great.
So after years of experimenting with making beats in his room, in 2023 he had this idea to take his act on the road, or really, the streets. This has now led to him collaborating with a violinist. A man on his bicycle with a cat.
No eat, no rice, no pork, and be
and even Grammy-winning music legend Wyclef Jean.
The fact that Wyclef Jean was like, I know you, and you were like, you do? He was like, of course I know you.
That was pretty cool.
But Ari says perhaps the most rewarding part of this experience
Shorty, yo, I'm 1,000 there. I can spend 1,000 over here.
Has been when two strangers get to connect and perform together on one of his songs, like this one featuring a local rapper and a nearby doorman.
The idea that I get to assist in that's really like beautiful.
Well, get ready to rock and roll. It's time for your Morning Winnipeg contest. Motley Crue will headline the second annual Rockin' Thunder at Princess Auto Stadium. The legendary rock band will help kickstart the summer, and Your Morning Winnipeg has a pair of tickets to give away this week. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca. Good luck. Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 9th anniversary, Heather and Andy. Love from your family. Happy 60th birthday, Lorraine, with lots of love from grandkids Bobby Joe, Lydia, Walker, Navi, Natalie, and Blake. Happy 67th birthday, Sharon, from Buddy and the gang at North 40 Ranch, who say you're their favorite hairstylist. Happy 15th birthday, Victor. Love Mama and Papa. And a happy 70th birthday to Gracie. Love from your family. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff, Winnipeg's balloon headquarters with 3 locations.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
It's going to be a mild day today, headed to a high of -5. Well, -10 is actually a normal daytime high. That's where we're currently sitting. Last year was a cold one, though. We only got up to -18.2, but all the way back in 1876. 5.0 degrees. We're going to be into those plus digits as early as tomorrow, and in fact some places will be into those plus digits today. I don't know if they'll be record-breaking plus digits, but certainly a shocking warm-up compared to where we've been or what you would even expect for this time of year. We are dealing with some heavier clouds out here. We've been watching them basically moving in over the course of the morning. They were around yesterday too, but then we had a clear moment overnight, only to see these clouds building up again this morning. -10, that is where we're sitting right now, and I just mentioned that's a normal daytime high, but we will be surpassing that as the temperatures rise. It feels like -15. The winds are light though, just 9 kilometers per hour out of the west-northwest. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. So the clouds will be moving in across the entire province. Where it's a little bit clearer still is up around the Churchill area, in the -30s, but feeling in the -40s. You will make some gains today, but only about 10 degrees, so still a little bit cooler up around Churchill. For most of us, though, a well above seasonal day, and that could mean plus digits for folks along the western border, and we could be seeing those plus digits for tomorrow. But today, a few degrees shy of the freezing mark, still above seasonal with the clouds and maybe some scattered snow.
Thanks, Terry. Economic uncertainty and trade disruptions are major concerns for Manitoba businesses. That's according to the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce's 2025 Business Outlook Survey, which was released yesterday. Joining us now to tell us more about the results of the survey is Chuck Davidson from the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, Rochelle.
Thanks for joining us. Now, tell us about the survey. What are the results showing you?
So what the results are showing us is something that we've talked about on this show over the course of the last year, and it's really the impact that trade and tariffs and Trump have been having on the business community in Manitoba. When we shared the results, what we found was that close to 76% of businesses have been impacted as a result, or are thinking about or concerned about the impact that tariffs are going to have. What we also found is that 62% have already been negatively impacted financially as a result of the tariffs that have been put in place, and that's problematic. It's even more so in rural Manitoba. And so these are challenges that businesses are dealing with, and when you look at terms of what they've been dealing with over the course of the last number of years, workforce challenges have continually been a problem, and then over the last number of years it's been inflationary pressures. So what we've really got right now is we've got this trifecta of problems that businesses are having to deal with and navigate and to be able to make decisions. What we also found in the survey results is 76% of businesses, as a result of all of this uncertainty that's kind of going on right now in the world, are not making decisions on hiring. They're not making decisions on investing in their companies, and they're not making decisions on growing their companies. That's problematic. These are things that are front and center right now. Having this data provides us with a good understanding of what the challenges of business are. Now it's about working with both the provincial government and the federal government to be able to address solutions or to address these problems so these businesses can continue to operate.
One of the things that Prime Minister Mark Carney is doing is traveling around the world, trying to make deals with other countries and trying to eliminate some of those trade barriers that we might have with them. What are Manitoba businesses saying about that?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things. So what we're really looking at right now is the fact that we've got this unreliable trading partner that we've had for decades that we can't rely on. And so the solutions that the business community has talked about are that we do need to look at other export markets. So what the Premier or the Prime Minister is doing is exactly what we expect, is looking at other potential export markets. We've talked about reducing internal trade barriers. How do we make it easier to do trade within Canada? And both the Premiers and the Prime Minister have been addressing that as well. We continue to need to do more, though. And the other thing that's important is making investments in infrastructure, specifically in things that can help get products out of our country. And so investing in the ports, investing in strategic infrastructure, investing in things like Churchill. These are important in the future. So we're doing all the right things. The challenge is these things don't happen overnight. And so businesses in a time right now where when you talk to businesses, they're losing money, and significantly in some cases on a regular basis. This isn't something that is a short-term issue, but at the same time, we need to find solutions and identify programs and different things that can help those businesses in the short term.
Some businesses are losing tons of money.
Yeah, so I've talked to some business owners that are losing, some in excess of $1 million a month as a result of this. These are large employers that would typically have a strong presence in the U.S. and don't have the ability to simply, pivot to looking at other countries. The U.S. has been their prime source of business for decades. It doesn't go away, and so dealing with the tariffs is something they're having to deal with. So the other thing that's important is we're going into CUSMA negotiations with the U.S. over the course of the next 6 months. We need to make sure those go as smoothly as possible. We need to do everything we can to get those tariffs reduced. We know they're never going to zero. That's not on the table, and we've heard that repeatedly, but we need to create a more stable business environment so the businesses in Manitoba can continue to do business with the U.S., but have a better sense in terms of what the rules of the game are.
And you want them to stay in Manitoba as well.
We want them to stay in Manitoba. We want them to continue to grow in Manitoba. We see great opportunity here in Manitoba, but we need to create that environment where businesses can make those decisions about hiring, about growing their business and investing.
And that would come from government.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, Chuck, thanks for this today.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Welcome inside the Sports Center newsroom. Matt Scooby with your must-see moment from Tuesday. For it, we head to Brooklyn. Lakers visiting the Nets. First quarter off the turnover. Austin Reeves going to go off the glass to LeBron James, who throws down the monster jam. Whew. LA looking like the Showtime Lakers of old on that play. The 41-year-old LeBron still's got the hops. That is your must-see moment from Tuesday. Now Wednesday on TSN, you can see Tangerine Raptors basketball when the Timberwolves visit the Raptors. Pre-game coverage starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
The TSN must-see moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
Well, we're finally seeing a break from the extreme cold, and that means things are melting on the roadways. So be mindful of that. Fill up that windshield washer fluid and take your time. It could be a little bit slippery out there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. It's Wednesday, February the 4th. The province steps in. What factors led Manitoba Health to take over operations at a Fort Garry care home? The economy and the environment. Striking the right balance between the two is a major concern as talk of port expansion in the north moves ahead. And it bears eye view, how a high-tech assist allows new insight into how they live and thrive in challenging conditions. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Well, it's the season of love. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and some people will spend some time with their honey and do something special for Valentine's Day. Some people, though, don't have a honey except for the one they find on their phone or on their computer. ChatGPT. There's a trend right now where people are falling in love with AI. So we're going to find out a little bit more about what this is all about and the danger of this as well, especially when it comes to privacy. So we're going to have details on that. But yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? We're going to find out more, but the weather is lovely.
Also shocking. The warm up that we're experiencing or will experience throughout the day today, minus 10. That's where we're sitting right now. That's a normal daytime high. We've been there throughout the morning, but we'll continue to see those temps on the rise today. It does feel like minus 15 with those winds. They're out of the west-northwest, 9 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. So yes, things will be warming up drastically. So as far as the conditions that we can expect over the next couple of days, it's going to be on the cloudier side. We had a moment of clear sky overnight, but it was brief, and now you can see those clouds are back again across the entire province, where it's still clearish up in the Churchill areas, where it's also the coldest. Here's a look at not just the clouds, but the possibility of some snow that'll be passing through, certainly across northern and then central Manitoba. We might see a few scattered flakes here in the south as well, and the possibility of another round of precipitation to come tomorrow. But with even warmer temperatures, we could be seeing, you see the green in there, there's a little bit of pink as well, the possibility of a rain-snow mix because of where these temperatures are climbing. And I'll give you a hint, it's above the freezing mark. Not today. today, -5 is where we'll top out, although some places west of us could hit plus digits. We're likely to do that tomorrow as this warm-up continues, dipping slightly as it clears out Friday. That's the one day we can expect to see some sunshine before it clouds over again, and the weekend is looking not just cloudy but incredibly mild, and that trend continues well into the start of next week. Our art today is a big thanks to Zoe, 9 years old, and we appreciate you painting for us. We'd love to see more of what you're working on, so draw, color, or paint. Send those pictures to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
We have an update for you now on the Golden Door Geriatric Centre. The province is taking over the 78-bed personal care home in Fort Garry to ensure it remains open.
The expropriation is absolutely a last resort. This is not a light step to take. I don't take it lightly. Government doesn't take it lightly.
The Manitoba government is expropriating this 78-bed personal care home on Pembina Highway after it says the private owner planned to close it. The province says last year the Golden Door Geriatric Centre filed a closure notice for March 31st of this year. It says the centre, which gets public funding, stopped taking new admissions, and as a result, 25 beds are currently empty. So the province has put an interim management team in place, and expropriation proceedings to take the facility are underway after negotiations to acquire the care home came to a standstill. They plan to reopen the 25 beds.
We'll do everything we can to make sure that seniors have homes in this province and that healthcare workers who provide care to seniors in these personal care homes have their jobs that they love.
The province says this is the first time attempts to take a building have been done within the health system. The health minister says going forward, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority will operate the facility. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew was in Churchill yesterday, and while he was there, he faced questions about a push to expand the community's port.
We want to pass something on today, tomorrow, and that will keep everybody going. And I don't want to have anything negative to the environment.
Community members are worried about the environmental impact of expanding the Port of Churchill Plus project. Upgrading the port would make the site a year-round trade hub connecting Canada to global markets. Manitoba is working on a report for Ottawa's Major Projects Office. To address environmental concern, Premier Kinew announced $250,000 to explore creating a national marine conservation area. Crews are cleaning up what remains of a notorious Main Street hotel. A city spokesperson confirms the contractor hired to remediate the site of the Manwin Hotel has received all the necessary approvals and permits. The work was put on hold after the discovery of asbestos. The bulk of the work is expected to be completed in the next week. The hotel went up in flames 3 weeks ago. China is banning hidden door handles on electric vehicles. This type of door handle was widely adopted by Tesla and is now a common design feature for EVs. China is banning them, saying they're not safe in emergencies. Under the new rules, electric car doors must have a mechanical release inside and outside. Unique views of Alaska's North Slope are being provided by some unlikely photographers. Those photographers would be grizzly bears. 12 bears have been outfitted with video collars in order to shoot footage for researchers. This area of Alaska is remote territory for any grizzly bear, and while the framing isn't perfect, researchers think it will be valuable. Here's a look at what's happening now in traffic along Kenniston Boulevard. Things are moving well here. We have no issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see anything out there, though, please let us know.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
It's Heart Month, and Ainsley's with the Heart and Stroke Foundation this morning. Tell us more about what's happening this month. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. Well, we're really trying to encourage that education piece when it comes to risk factors. But if you don't know what to do, you might not be able to identify that, right? So we're going to talk about what people at home can do. Christine Hood joins us now to tell us all about it. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what can people at home do?
Well, when it comes to risk factors, one of the most important things is knowing what your risk factors are. So that's a really important place for all of us to start. Heart and Stroke has a fantastic tool called Risk Screen you can find online. You answer a few questions, it'll provide you with what your risks are and a plan for how to address them. So at the individual level, that's a great place to start.
So from there, you're going to want to talk to a healthcare provider. We talked earlier, definitely get checked. What should they keep in mind?
Absolutely. So healthcare providers, really important that they talk with their patients about risk factors and also recommend reputable sources of information so that when people want to know more, they know where to go, such as the Heart and Stroke website. So healthcare providers, another really important level.
Government plays a role in this. At that level, what can be done and what should be done?
Government plays a huge role. So we've talked about all of these lifestyle risk factors, and it's really important that government plays a role in implementing policies that support healthy eating, physical activity, and protecting us from the harms of smoking and vaping. You talked earlier about vaping, and this is a real increasing concern, particularly amongst our youth. We're seeing 1 in 4 grade 12 students vaping. So government really plays an important role in strengthening policies to ensure that we can protect our youth from the harms of vaping and potential nicotine addiction.
And even talking to our kids about that.
Absolutely. It's really important to have that conversation. It could be another on-ramp to nicotine addiction, and we really want to prevent that.
Before we're out of time, anything else you want people to know about finding those resources?
Absolutely. Come to our website, heartandstroke.ca. There's some great information there. You can find the report. And again, that risk screen tool you can find at heartandstroke.ca/risk screen.
Thank you so much. And so many Manitobans are dealing with this. Canadians are dealing with this. Coming up at 8:38, we're chatting with someone else with lived experience.
Okay, thanks, Ains. It's estimated there are 14 million dogs and cats in Canada, but only about 3% of pet owners have pet insurance. But as CTV's Pat Foran shows you now, the premiums can rise substantially as your pet gets older.
Is Rosie a good dog?
Oh, she's the best. She just loves people.
Elaine Sitter of Toronto has had Rosie, a Bichon poodle, since she was a puppy. Now 11 years old, Rosie continues to be a wonderful companion.
I love her. She's amazing. She's my little shadow.
Sitter says a former pet died young and had expensive veterinary bills, which is why she wanted Rosie to have pet insurance. The monthly premiums were manageable in the beginning, but in 2024 they rose to $286 a month. They jumped again the next year to $470 a month, and Sitter was told for this year the premiums would be $866 each month.
I want to live comfortably, and I want her to live comfortably as well, but I just can't justify that kind of money.
Sitter is insured with 24 Pet Watch. She called to get answers regarding the massive price hike.
Your dog is older, and I'm like, yeah, that was a point of insurance, and that I was on an old plan, and they weren't honoring that old plan any longer.
We contacted the parent company of 24 Pet Watch, Independence Pet Holdings. A spokesperson said monthly premiums have risen in recent years as veterinary costs continue to increase. As claim costs rise, insurers must adjust premiums to keep pace.
The rates for younger animals will always be less expensive than those for animals as they age.
Consumer Reports advises to shop around for pet insurance or self-insure with your own savings plan.
Meaning you have a lockbox where you put that money untouched in the event that your pet does need some sort of service.
That's a lot of money.
Sitter says over 11 years she paid $17,000 in premiums and now wishes she would have had her own savings plan instead.
I really wish that I wouldn't have bothered with insurance. I could have stuck $100 away a week and would have been fine.
All right, we're looking through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, the exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. It is a beautiful and mild start to your morning. You're going to find almost a shock to the system when you step outside, but a shock in a good way, not the extreme cold that caused that shock over the past several weeks now. We're going to enjoy these milder temperatures, maybe too much so, because where the mercury is headed over the next few days is going to make it not just mild, but incredibly messy too. -10 is where we're currently sitting. That is a normal daytime high. We're seeing similar numbers along this eastern border. Milder yet as we look off to the west. There are heavier clouds across most of the province. The exception is in the far northeast. Up around the Churchill area where it's clear, it's cold. -32 is what you're waking up to this morning. And then you factor in the winds, and it's feeling colder yet. Churchill having a wind chill value of -40. For most of us, the winds are light to moderate, and with these mild temperatures, it doesn't have too much impact. There are the clouds. You can see them on the satellite image, and the bit of snow that's going to start to move in. Heavier snow expected across northern Manitoba. It just never reads on the satellite image, but that's where things will be most active, is through the north and then through east central Manitoba. We'll deal with the clouds throughout the day today, but the temperature's on the rise. By the time kids are coming home from school, -7 is expected, with it continuing to warm into the evening time and a high of -5. In fact, it continues to warm overnight and then through the day tomorrow, pushing above the freezing mark with the heavier clouds, the possibility of precipitation, and it could be in mixed form with those plus-digit temperatures expected. It will, however, cool down Friday when sunshine returns again. We're taking a break. We'll see you soon with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Toys R Us Canada is filing for creditor protection. The company says it's working on a restructuring that could see its footprint further diminish or the whole business sold to new owners. In court documents, Toys R Us says the step was necessary as the company was struggling to cope with inflation, rising labor costs, and supply chain disruptions. Glencore is suspending nearly $1 billion Canadian in investment plans for a century-old copper smelter in Quebec. The company has been in talks with the Quebec government over timelines and targets for cutting harmful pollutions, but those talks have reportedly reached an impasse. Glencore says it needs more visibility on the renewal of an environmental permit. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Many will be sharing a special meal with their sweetie to express their love this Valentine's Day, but some people will be sharing the day grasping their phones or computer keyboards as they build emotional relationships with a virtual boyfriend or girlfriend. It's hard to believe, but research is showing that more people are having love affairs with a chatbot. Joining us now to tell us more about this trend is Professor of Philosophy and Director of the Center for Professional and Applied Ethics at the U of M, Neil MacArthur. Good morning, Neil.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Now, this is really hard to believe, honestly, but it's true. There are people having emotional relationships with AI. Tell us about this trend.
Yeah, I think it's not just a few people. It's quite a lot of people. There was a report yesterday that said this is, quote, spreading like wildfire. People are turning to AI chatbots for romance. They're turning to it for friendship, for religious guidance, for therapy, lots of different things. But they're forming bonds. Let's put it that way.
Why do you think this is happening?
Well, the research right now shows that people are interested. This is a new technology, and people, especially young people, are interested in new technology. They want to find out what it can do. They've heard that they, have this functionality. So I think right now the overwhelming data shows that people are exploring. However, there are also people who, are definitely feeling lonely or isolated and are using this to address those needs as well.
But I mean, you can't really go out for dinner with your phone, or you can't really get a massage or a foot massage. So what are the perks of this?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind too, though, I mean, young people especially are pretty used to online relationships. I don't think that, this is anything new to them, engaging with somebody they can't see or relate to physically. So I think one of the perks is that they're always available. They're always in a good mood. They tend to be very positive. They tend to be very affirming of you and who you are. And I think for a lot of people who are maybe used to some of the ups and downs of human dating, that can seem a bit like a relief.
And is this a concern to you? What do you think is the danger here?
I'm generally not concerned. I think that we are seeing some cases where people have unhealthy relationships with these technology. I think people have, very unhealthy relationship with human beings as well. So, I definitely think problems can arise. I also think there are some concerns about, privacy. I don't think that these companies necessarily have your data privacy in mind when they're doing their privacy policies. So I think it's something you definitely need to have your eyes open if you try this.
So do you think this is more of a younger generation trend, or do you think it's affecting, or really it's all generations?
I think it's all generations. I think as with most technology things, the young people are the ones who are the first adopters. And so that's what you're seeing now. But I think as time goes on, it's going to spread more and more to other demographics.
And what is the cost to society when something like this happens?
Well, I don't know whether, I think there are people who are concerned that somehow there's going to be people who just sort of disappear from the social world. I will wait and see if that's true. I think it's a possibility. I think that right now what we're seeing is people are integrating these into their existing relationships. Most of us have lots of different kinds of relationships in our lives. So, you know, I think it's something we need to keep an eye on. We're kind of doing an experiment on ourselves right now. We've never had a technology like this before. We've never had relationships like this before. So we just don't know. I think it's something we need to kind of, you know, keep watching.
Any advice for people if they want to explore this kind of relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, don't be afraid of it. I think you can experiment. You can have fun. I think that you need to be very well informed about the risks in terms of privacy, in terms of, you know, you are paying for these services in many cases, and they can change their terms of service very quickly. So, you know, I think just you know, read up on the technology, find out what it can do, find out what it can't do, find out what it is and isn't, and you know, just I mean, people go into human relationships with lots of, you know, they're often pretty cautious as well. So I think, you know, use your normal level of caution.
Okay, well, Neil, thanks for sharing this information with us.
Thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun.
You know, a relationship with somebody that doesn't leave toothpaste in the sink doesn't sound like the worst thing, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being married, but like, come on, there might be some perks to this new thing.
We won't tell anybody.
Okay, let's take a look at these conditions this morning. It's beautiful out here, incredibly mild, and what a nice change up coming off of the extreme cold that we dealt with through most of January. Well, now looking ahead, and at least the first part of February is going to remain well above seasonal, and that all begins today. We're sitting at -10 right now, which would be a normal daytime high, but gains will still be made, putting us well above seasonal. West-northwest winds are light, just 5 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. Now, -10 is already well above seasonal, -21 a normal low, but to be at those daytime highs this early in the day, knowing that we're still going to see some gains, and those gains could actually take parts of western Manitoba above the freezing mark. There will be likely some plus digits for folks along that western border. Heavier clouds for nearly everybody, so that's one thing that we can expect, and maybe even some snow, far more likely through northern and then east central Manitoba. We might see a few scattered flakes here in the south as well, and in fact, precipitation could still loom tomorrow in a rain-snow mix as these temperatures continue to warm up. We'll get to about -5 today in Winnipeg, continuing to warm overnight, and then tomorrow surpassing the freezing mark, which puts us at that rain-snow risk. It also puts this church at risk. It's made out of snow, very cool. At least it was captured to maybe maintain its integrity. Thanks to Sherry for the photo. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
It's that time of year. We have been getting through winter, maybe barely. So we're going to talk today about beating the winter blues. Rachel No joins us today, editor of In Between magazine. Rachel, you couldn't have shown up at a better time. I feel like it's really starting to hit.
I know. And when we talk about beating the winter blues, we're often talking about mood. And for a lot of times, for a lot of Canadians, it's the day-to-day in-the-house stuff that can really get to them, especially, you know, if we have pets, because we're spending less time outdoors and more time indoors where there could be more mess and smell. For cat owners, that means their litter boxes are working overtime. That's why I think, you know, any cat owner would love this Litter Genie Light Clumping Cat Litter. It's made from locally sourced Canadian bentonite clay. It's 20% lighter than other litters, but you get a nice pour without sacrificing volume. It's also 99.9% dust-free, and it soaks up ammonia right away. So it keeps your, you know, the air in your house light and dust-free, as well as smelling nice. Pair that with the Litter Genie pail, litter boxes, and refills, and you get a really compatible system that really streamlines your litter routine. And you can pick this up at PetSmart, Canadian Tire, or Amazon.ca.
Very nice. You'll be happier. Your pets will be happier. It's a win-win all around. All right, I'm eyeing up the flip-flops and swimsuits there. Are we taking a trip somewhere? Tell me yes.
If you're lucky enough to be beating winter by getting away, you're going to want some fun swimwear, whether you're beachside or poolside. For all swimsuits, my go-to is always Le'Veon Rose because they have such amazing swimsuit styles and cover-ups for everybody and every body. I'm loving the new collection. It has a lot of printed styles as well as vibrant colors and textures. This gingham suit's going to be popular this season, as well as the striped palm swimwear. And I'm loving this pink palm skirt set. So pretty. You can shop these all at your local Le'Veon Rose.
There you go. Pink is always a mood booster. I feel like you and I were on the same page with that today. All right, any ideas of where we should be jetting off to then if we are so lucky?
If you're looking for some sun in the skies and to get that light back in your child's eyes, Orlando is the perfect family-friendly destination. I first went when my son was just a little guy. He still talks about it today because of the great experience. And we're going to go again now that he's 19 because I can't wait to experience the new theme park with him. It's called Epic Universe, as well as do some exciting activities like ziplining over alligators or kayaking with the manatees. And it's really convenient to get to as well because you can get a direct flight over from most Canadian major cities. And once you're there, there's tons of family-friendly resorts to choose from. It just makes it an easy, accessible, and unforgettable getaway. And you can check it all out at visitorlando.com.
Excellent. And I understand you have one more sun destination to entice us with?
If you want a more luxe experience, Trobu Tulum is a luxury all-inclusive villa concept, perfect for couples and families and groups of friends. It's the first hotel in the Trobu Boutique collection. It has butler service that can book you activities on and off property, like a mixology class, or maybe you want to go visit the nearby cenotes. On site, there's a fitness room, there's a yoga room, there's a pizzeria, and of course a coffee shop and boutique. Each villa can sleep 8. It comes with 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. Get your own infinity pool. You have a terrace with loungers, a bar and grill area, a fully stacked kitchen. But if you don't want to cook, you can order breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks all day long. And if you are going with a group of 8, it's a great deal because you're only paying about $145 per person per night. So I think that's an amazing deal, for all the amenities that you're getting.
Oh my goodness, it all sounds so amazing. If nothing else, you've at least made my daydreams a little bit brighter. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Rachel.
Thanks, Terry.
We have a traffic note to share with you right now. The northbound median lane on Legimazier past Warman has a block in the street, so you'll need to keep right to pass. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
It's -10 outside this morning, feeling like -13, but the breeze is light, just 5 clicks out of the west-northwest. The pressure rising, humidity sitting at 87%. Heavier clouds, that's what you can expect out of today, but also a really nice change up as far as the temperatures go. We're already well above seasonal, and we'll continue to make those gains today. Heavier clouds are not just for us here in the south. You can see they moved in the early morning hours, but across the entire province, things will remain quite cloudy, and we're even seeing a little bit of precipitation showing up. There will be far more snow moving across northern Manitoba. It just never reads on the satellite image. But through the north and then into east central Manitoba is where things will be the most active with the flurries. But that doesn't mean that we won't see any. The possibility is there. A few scattered flakes of snow as the temperatures rise to -5. That puts us well above seasonal. In fact, where we are right now, -10, that would be normal for a daytime high. So making those gains throughout the day today, and then perhaps continuing to make some gains overnight. We'll still have the clouds hanging around and that possibility of precipitation, but the mercury rising to -2 by morning, and then throughout the day tomorrow up to +2. Now with these plus-digit temperatures, we still have that chance of precipitation, but could see a change up in the form. A rain-snow mix is possible, as mild as it'll be tomorrow, and then cooling down as it clears out. Friday is the one day that we can expect to see some sunshine, slightly below seasonal temperatures. I mentioned -10 being normal, but then back up above seasonal as we look ahead to some heavier clouds for the weekend.
Homeless encampments are now banned near public areas like playgrounds and schools, and we're nearly 3 months into the city's enforcement of the new rules. But that work slowed down last month, with city staff saying the frigid temperatures are to blame.
January was a very cold month, and most of the time unsheltered residences will go seek shelter. They'll either go to a 24-hour safe space or go into shelter space.
According to city data, 2 high-priority encampments were actioned during the month of January, meaning an outreach worker visited the site, signage was put up, or the site was cleared after being vacated. Since mid-November, the city has prohibited encampments near playgrounds, schools, transit shelters, bridges, and rail crossings. Community Development Manager Greg McPherson told the city's Community Services Committee a total of 14 encampments have been actioned since the policy took effect, while 37 have been remediated and 85 have been inspected by bylaw enforcement officers.
We're working very closely with the province on a number of encampments to try to house people.
Community Services Chair Councillor Vivian Santos says the true test of the city's encampment policy will come when the weather warms up and living outside becomes less hazardous, at least as far as temperatures go. Winkler is gearing up to host its first ever Pride event later this year.
At the end of each Pride season, we send out a survey and ask, what would you like to see? And last year, number 1 was, please bring it to Winkler.
And that's what Pembina Valley Pride plans to do on June 13th. Planning is underway to host the event in Winkler, which is expected to include speakers, a market, rainbow church services, and more. Organizers say having Pride in smaller areas allow people to feel supported and accepted without having to leave their home community. A winter wonderland made from ice and snow has officially opened in Flintflon. The Flintflon Snow Lodge is a 56-foot-long arch with ice walls. It was quite a feat to build. Snow was blown onto a large steel arch at a high velocity. The steel form was then removed, leaving just the arch behind. There's a number of events, dinners, concerts, and even weddings planned for the icy venue this winter. Canadian officials are in South Korea exploring new trade deals on everything from cars to military hardware, including submarines. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
Good morning. The South Koreans showing the federal government's point man on defense procurement what more could be made in Canada. Hanwha says the howitzer armored vehicles used by some European forces and needed by Canadian soldiers could be made by auto workers in Ontario facing job losses.
The manufacturing automated lines that we have now, we could take that here and use the technology that we have and implement that in Canada for the development of these vehicles.
Hanwha did something similar in Australia. It built a factory outside Melbourne after Ford and Toyota shuttered their plants.
Given the moment that we're in, everything's on the table. So, we're not, we're looking at all the opportunities that we can get our hands on.
Hanwha is considering linking the howitzers to its bid to build up to a dozen submarines for the Royal Canadian Navy. One of its partners is also pitching building the torpedoes that go in the KSS-3 sub in Canada. The country's top naval commander says Korean soldiers will help train Canadians, and trade will strengthen ties between old allies.
As the Secretary Fuhrer and Ministry of National Defense An has mentioned, Canadian forces deployed more than 26,000 personnel into the Korean War. And the Korean people do not forget the sacrifices that the Canadian forces had during the Korean War. Korean citizens are always thankful for this.
After meeting with Hanwha, Secretary of State Stephen Fuhrer will meet with Hyundai in South Korea, all before the federal government releases its new national auto strategy.
Here's a look at the current traffic situation now on Donald Street. Looks like things are moving well so far here. If you have any traffic tips to share with us, please text them. Here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average stands at $1.29. The provincial average is $1.20. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.19, and the lowest price in the city is $1.12. All this information is on gasbuddy.com. For our question of the day, today is National Homemade Soup Day, and we want to know what's your favorite homemade soup. Leslie's favorite soup is homemade cabbage roll soup. Jennifer's go-to homemade soup is hamburger soup. It's a good one. Brenda's favorite homemade soup is borscht. Susan loves homemade ham and pea soup. Any homemade soup is good soup. We especially like taco soup, says Kate. Allison loves her mom's homemade turkey soup. Lucy's favorite homemade soup is pea soup. Favorite soup for Irene is homemade chicken vegetable. Miss Tamim's favorite soup is traditional hangover soup made with stewing beef, not hamburger. Hamburger macaroni soup is Val's answer. Minestrone, borscht, and creamy white cabbage are the family favorite soups for Jackie. Murray shared chicken pot pie soup made by Kayla, an awesome daughter-in-law. Love that. Cheryl's favorite homemade soup is pea soup with ham in it. For Randy Lee, it's hamburger soup with fried bannock. Craig says, oh, so many to choose from, but my wife's homemade chicken noodle soup is right up there. And Sandy's favorite homemade soup is her 4 mushroom soup. Sounds delicious. Thank you so much for your responses. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. Soup is good for the heart, especially when it's cold outside. Good morning, Ainsley.
Rochelle, I'm no doctor, but I would concur with that one. Another term that physicians probably don't use is a hole in the heart. Stronach Corshane was born with just that and took on a surgery that was, of course, very serious back in 2023. Tell us all about it, Shauna.
So I was looking for a general practitioner. I did find one, and she was the one who initially found the heart murmur, referred me to a cardiologist, and from there, several tests, they found that I had a hole in the heart. And now this needed to be repaired. So that was done in Edmonton of 2023. And yeah, so things have been going well since then.
Well, I was going to say, 3 years is a long time, but it's also not a long time. You've been cleared, though, to see the cardiologist for 5 years now. When I say that, how does it make you feel?
It feels great. I mean, I've made quite a few changes since that time, and yeah, just keeping up with exercising, diet changes, lifestyle changes, and yeah, just doing those things.
And something that a lot of people tend to do is avoid the symptoms. We've chatted about that throughout the morning. You're part of that group of individuals.
Yes. So I had this all of my life, but I didn't realize that I did. And I was having heart palpitations, and I just thought that this was a normal, yeah, symptom. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, men and women present differently as well. So what would you say to the women out there listening?
Just listen to your body. Find a good general practitioner or nurse practitioner. Get your checkups regularly. Yeah.
Well, it's Heart Health Month, so while we're on the topic, make that appointment. Check it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's very different feeling out there, I'm sure, Terry, than yesterday.
Very different, and I'm loving it. Honestly, there's some heavier clouds. I always prefer to see the sunshine, but I'm also very aware that sunshine also often means colder temperatures. And this is the change-up I've been waiting for, so I'm accepting of the extra clouds right now. And there's even a little bit of light snow. I'm just seeing a few scattered flakes out here at this time, but still. I mean, I'm standing out here with no gloves on. That's how pleasant it is so far. -10 feels like -13. There's just the lightest breeze. It's a 5K wind out of the west-northwest with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. Now, that very light breeze might increase. Later on this afternoon, we are expecting the winds to get a little bit or a lot stronger. They could at times be gusting to about 50 kilometers per hour for later today. But later today, these temperatures will have risen significantly, expecting to rise to about -5 through the late afternoon or early evening, and then continue to warm up overnight and still more so for tomorrow. Now, those are the temperatures that I'm talking about that Winnipeg could see today. Areas to the west of us along the western border, you might crack the freezing mark today. We'll likely crack the freezing mark for tomorrow, pushing up into those plus digits. But with that possibility of precipitation, we could see a few flakes today, but we might even see some rain-snow mix on the way as it warms up tomorrow. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Strictly Amish, exclusively in Arborg, Manitoba.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
An Ottawa man diagnosed with a rare form of cancer is sharing his story about the backpack that saved his life. CTV's Leo LaRock has more.
You should consider yourself to be in complete remission.
Those are the words that Ted Wagstaff was always determined to hear.
Complete remission. Pretty powerful.
Last spring, the Ottawa business investor and father of 3 started to feel unwell.
I was on a business trip, and in the middle of the night, I woke up and I thought I had food poisoning.
But the diagnosis was far more severe.
I knew it was rare, I knew it was aggressive, and it's a deadly subtype.
He had multiple tumors. One was the size of a sweet potato.
I had double-hit lymphoma.
Typical chemotherapy wasn't going to be enough. His personalized treatment involved a backpack so he could receive chemotherapy 24/7.
I would get literally a backpack with chemo in it and a pump. Every day I would go back to the hospital to get a new bag of chemo. I would sleep with it, I would shower with it, go for a walk, just that my chemo backpack went everywhere with me.
His doctor says Wagstaff's journey shows the groundbreaking cancer work being done right here in Ottawa.
That sense of cancer not being one disease and patients not all being the same. And we are slowly, but we are definitely moving into a circumstance where we're not looking at one recipe that we apply to every patient. We're taking the patient's own biology and their specific type of cancer into consideration.
In total, I did 487 hours of chemotherapy.
Halfway through Wagstaff's treatment, he welcomed his first grandson, and 5 weeks after chemo, he completed a Tough Mudder endurance race. Now in remission, Wagstaff says his positive prognosis is largely because of this small backpack that carried the hope he needed.
I will never find the words to say thank you. I just won't. So I have immense gratitude for the Ottawa Hospital and what they did for me.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
A local Red River Métis filmmaker has just received an award for his work. Filmmaker Matthew Shoup is the first recipient of the Joy Lowen Storytellers Award. Matthew Shoup joins us now to tell us more. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, congratulations. And before we get to that, announce the award that you have received, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to become a filmmaker. Why did you want to do this?
I've always loved movies. I say I eat, breathe, and die movies. It's never been a question about if I want to do anything else. It's only ever been movies. And I've been so inspired by people in my family and creative people, including my grandmother.
And what kind of stories do you like to tell?
I like to tell stories that are authentic to Manitoba, really putting Manitoba on the big screen, and especially having Métis culture represented on the big screen.
And how do you convey that? Because it's a whole culture. A lot of people here in Manitoba are Métis. They have that in their background. So how do you tell people that story?
Yeah, I just show us as authentically as we are. Okay. And as so many Métis people are so varied in how we all are, and I like to just show authentically how we are today.
And what would your grandmother say about all this, knowing that that she has inspired you in such a way?
I think she's really proud of me, and I'm really proud of her. She's a very creative person. She's an author, and that's her storytelling and style of storytelling has always inspired me in my work.
Okay, so obviously your work is getting noticed because you got this award. It is the Joy Lowen Storytellers Award. It's the first time it's been handed out. Tell us a little bit about how you even got noticed for this award and what it means to you.
Yeah, so I'm very honored to be the first recipient of this award. It's a brand new award created by the National Screen Institute to honor Joy Lowen, the former CEO. And I was in the CBC New Indigenous Voices program back in 2024 through the National Screen Institute, and through that program, I've always stayed connected with them, and they ended up selecting me for this award, which I can't thank them enough for.
You found out in September.
I did find out in September, yes.
You had to keep it a secret this whole time.
I had to keep it a secret for a while, yeah.
What did it mean to you just to have that honor?
It was so exciting because it's the first time this award's ever been given out, so I didn't even know what it was. They had to explain it to me, and so it was wonderful to learn about this award and what it's going to mean for the future.
Okay, so what are you working on now?
Right now, I have a web series called In the Cards. It is best described as Heathers meets Euphoria meets Twin Peaks meets Manitoba. And we are halfway through releasing the first season. Episode 6 comes out very soon. Okay. It's for free to watch on YouTube, and we shot for about 51 days, and we're all very proud of how it's come out.
So describe it. It's kind of a spooky, a little bit of mystery.
Yeah, there's some spooky, some mystery, some supernatural, but also some drama and very realistic stories told about people today.
What would you tell young filmmakers right now that might be watching this, and what would you say to inspire them?
Just go for it. do as much as possible, shoot films, make films. That's the only way you're ever going to learn, is keep doing stuff, and you'll be surprised where it takes you.
If someone had been able to give you advice, what would you have hoped for when you were young?
I would have just hoped that they told me to keep going, that whenever things seem hard, that it's going to pay off. It will pay off.
What's next after this big project? You're hoping to keep this going?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I have a big dream project coming up that the financial contribution of this award has given me a big step towards, and I'm very excited about it.
Let's talk about the financial contribution. It's serious cash.
Yeah, they gave me $2,000.
Wow.
It was amazing, and it's really going to help me towards this next project of mine.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
If people want to find out more about the project, where do they find it? What is it called?
It's called In the Cards, and it's for free to watch on YouTube.
Okay, so if you want more information on that, that's where you find it. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's so mild outside. I was going to say it's beautiful. It is. I mean, I would love to see a little more sunshine, but I am very aware that when it's sunny, it's often a whole lot colder. And I think a lot of us are tired of the cold and welcoming this nice change up. So -10 is where we're sitting right now, which is, by the way, a seasonal daytime high, and we'll continue to feel those temperatures on the rise throughout the day. There's just a slight breeze this morning. It's 5 kilometers out of the west-northwest, and that's making it feel like -13, but an almost non-existent wind chill. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 87%. So yes, the heavier clouds are here and will likely stick around over the next couple of days. When it clears out, the temperatures will be dropping. So that's the change up that we're going to deal with. With these clouds, there is the possibility of some light and scattered snow that goes across northern Manitoba and even here in the south, although heavier snow expected through the north, scattered flurries here in the south. Could still see that precipitation falling tomorrow as we rise to 2 degrees. So up to -5 today, continuing to warm overnight, and then throughout the day cracking the freezing mark. So maybe some mixed precipitation. As it clears out Friday, temperatures dip only briefly because for the weekend, the clouds are back, but so too are the mild temperatures, and they'll continue into the start of next week. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
We're going to show you some fun video before we say goodbye. We kick things off with a clever couple who found a way to live rent-free in New York City. They live in a renovated school bus. It has everything they need, from solar panels on the roof for electricity to a kitchen, a bathroom, and beds for everyone, including their fur babies. It's pretty cool. They even have a vertical garden.
And with the traffic jams in New York, I mean, it's pretty much like having a stationary home.
Exactly. Now to a view that only a select few get to experience. Pilot Matthias is showing us his POV from the cockpit, and it looks amazing. That was a pretty smooth takeoff. What an incredible perspective indeed. And finally, a musical instrument that is out of this world. This odd-shaped instrument is called a handpan, also known as UFO drums. Their hypnotic and soothing tones are often used in meditation. I just want to meditate right now. That does it for us. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.